The spiritual home of Arden Street here at North Melbourne. A North Melbourne supporter, as I am, as people know, but it looks fantastic. The ground. Two captains in the middle have a toss of the coin at the moment, and Richmond wins the toss. They'll kick to the more like the northern end or the left-hand side of the dial.
We're calling it the Fogarty Street end,
Fogarty Street end. So it is great to be back here. This ground I haven't seen in a long time. It's major redevelopment here, and the lights, the netball and the basketball to my left, new centre up there you guys are calling from. A few people on the ground too. It's a good day. It's a bit overcast, but really good conditions for footy today.
Certainly is, Stoney. An overcast day, as you said, but not too much wind out there this afternoon. We'll come to you for all the ground level weather updates throughout the course of the afternoon. It's been a big week for the North Melbourne Footy Club. In a lot of ways, a dark week in some respects, but they've backed it up with a couple of wins in the AFL. Disappointing loss last week to Footscray last week in the VFL, but Footscray is one of the class teams of the competition. Now they have to come up and play against Richmond. They'll be looking to end this turbulent few days on a high note, but Adam, when we talk about the Tigers, we saw them firsthand last week. They are a really settled lineup. We know about all the injuries at AFL level, but they just keep bringing in players who get the job done.
Yeah, 12 AFL players out there today for the Tigers. They are having a great season, but I really love their VFL list. They are missing Steve Morris, their captain today, Stoney. We know how much of an impact he's going to have. But one for mine last week, and he only got 15 disposals, but Jacob Ballard, his presence tight late in the game when it was on the line and Essendon were mounting their comeback. He's such a big body, Stoney, which is important here in the VFL. He's one that I really like on their VFL list. The other one is obviously Tom Silvestro, who we've seen quite a bit of for the Tigers in recent times. And, well, a big out today is Charlie Thompson as well, who's been quite good for the Tigers so far this year. I do like their VFL list, Stoney.
Yeah, just looking at the Richmond list and Daniel Rioli playing, and the one for me that I think, Jacob Townsend's a class player. He, at this level, dominates the game. You look through, Charles is a very good player. I watched Sean Manor play in a country football game against the Morning Peninsula a couple of weeks ago, and he was dominant in that first quarter. So good to see him back, the Albury-based boy, and they're right. They've got a very good settled lineup there, the Richmond side.
We'll say hello to our streaming audience today as well, watching us on VFL.com.au. It is the Tigers taking on the Kangaroos here at Arden Street. And the Tigers did win the toss and went left of screen, which is the Fogarty Street end of the ground. North Melbourne will kick toward the Arden Street end at right of dial, which is probably no wind advantage at all, Stoney. I don't think. It's fairly still out there.
There is no breeze.
Perfect day for football, this one.
No breeze, no rain, bit overcast. Good crowd, conducive to a good game of football, I reckon.
So 15 AFL listed players in the side today for North Melbourne. That's including the mid-season draftee in Lockie Hosey. Peps, you've done a little bit of research on him. Come over from Glenelg, making his North Melbourne debut today.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. Pick 5 in Monday's mid-season draft. He played for Glenelg last Sunday, and now he's 6 days later. He's suiting up for the North Melbourne VFL team. So it's amazing how things can change. It's probably been a whirlwind week for that young man. He's a 189-centimetre forward, apparently a great athlete, 22 years old. Was the leading goal kicker in the Sandful at the end of last week. He had 21 goals from his 8 games. So perhaps a real exciting prospect for North Melbourne fans to get excited about. And they'll get their first chance to see him in the Royal Blue and White this afternoon.
Have you seen some of his highlight reels? I watched during the week him playing, as I said, in the Sandful. Some of his marking and goals are just amazing. So he's a bit of a live wire. Could be a new addition to the spark in the VFL. Would be good.
2 other games kicking off right about now in the Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL, a rematch of the 2015 Grand Final between Box Hill and Williamstown. That is about to kick off at Box Hill City Oval, and Werribee is taking on Casey at Avalon Airport Oval. No doubt Stoney will be keeping a half eye on that one. But umpire Sam Ferguson ready to get things underway here at Arden Street, the spiritual home of the North Melbourne Football Club. It was a great night for their AFL side. Can the VFL side just keep that momentum going? Here's Michael Peppicelli.
Thanks, Adam. Ready to go here at Arden Street. The newly redeveloped Arden Street. It'll be Chol handling the first ruck duties, even with Coleman Jones back in the side, but it was Campbell who thumped it forward, but only as far as Ballard, who, as you said, Adam, we loved his game last week. He's off to a good start. Mav Weller across half-back. Little kick to Naish was okay, but long kick up the line, not quite intercepted. Good spoil there by Coates playing from behind, but North Melbourne able to mop up, although the handball only as far as Weller. His hack out of midair, out of bounds on the full North Melbourne free kick.
To be taken by Watson there on the outer side for the Kangaroos. He's going to go down the line. That's the Macaulay Street side of the ground. Long down the line. Chol, best on ground last week. Got a fist in the marking contest. He might pick it up here, but his teammate got in the way. That might have been Brewer. Chol again with the tackle. Now Collier Dawkins, he was the man that got in Chol's way the previous ball. Now put into the deck is Curtis Taylor, and he will get a free kick. Umpire pointed the wrong way initially, but it is a free kick.
Blake Brewer played some games up in the Northern Territory during the off-season.
Yeah, former Brisbane Lion as Taylor goes up towards half forward. North Melbourne to get the first forward entry of the game. We're high inside 50. Charles in position A, takes a nice mark. And early signs are he's picking up from where he left off last week, but not a great kick. I spoke too soon. North are coming back in, and that's a nice little kick. Shot on goal and the first kick of the season from our man Mark Stone on the boundary line, and the Kangaroos are going to get a first look at goal today through Nathan Rover.
Yeah, it's a smart play, Nathan Rover, and sort of took position in the forward pocket there and stood by himself for a while and kick up and now shot on goal.
Fairly tight angle, probably a bit more than a 45-degree angle. Will kick from 35 metres. Rovat's kick is, well, it was heading for the near post, and it slammed into it in the end. One behind for the Kangaroos. Richmond yet to score on the hard jacket. Totally workwear. VFL Live Round 9 coverage on SEN2 and VFL.com.au.
Yet to go inside 50, the Tigers. Menadue to take the kick in. One of a number of inclusions this afternoon. Of course, dropped from the AFL side after last week's dream time at the G Clash. His kick punched over the boundary line.
Michael, Adam, one of the umpires out there was a former Northern Suburbs EFL person, I think, if you picked him up there, Adam.
You might need to help me, Stoney, because
Michael Pell.
Pell is out there today.
Correct.
Ball comes back into play. Campbell wins the hit out. He's been a dominant ruckman in the VFL this season, but only as far as a Richmond opponent. That kick goes sailing out of bounds on the full. In fact, that might be onto Macaulay Street. We'll have a bit of a wait for the footy, but it will be a North Melbourne free kick on centre wing.
I see him now, Stoney.
Umpire 13. He said, look after him, we will.
He knows I always do.
So just waiting for the footy to make its way back to Paul Ahern, who's waiting to take the kick on that outer side. Had a bit of an injury concern during the week with a knee, but he passed a fitness test and is able to play. He's kicked towards half forward. Campbell was the tall timber there, but he wasn't able to bring it down. Now a chance for Richmond to rebound. Credlin off half back. His kick 2-on-1, just over the head of its intended target, but Weller kept running. Receives a handball from Coleman Jones. Here's a chance for Richmond to go inside forward 50. Townsend's forward of the footy. Had the ball punched away from him. Plenty of numbers at ground level, but the Kangaroos do a good job of getting back, and Garner takes the mark at half back.
A quick hand pass over the top, and the Kangaroos again utilising the outer side. So far, so good. The kick comes inboard for Morgan, but getting in the way is Collier Dawkins for the Tigers. Inboard for Turner. Fraser Turner in the middle of Arden Street. 25 touches last week against the Bombers. As he goes wide towards half forward for Graham. Engaged in the one-on-one there with Garner. Worried him out of the ball, but he was holding on illegally in a free kick for the Tigers, looking for their first forward entry of the game here.
It is a bit slippery in the middle, boys. Obviously, we had a lot of rain in Melbourne this week. It's a little slippery, but really good conditions.
Graham's little chipper inside 50, no good. Ahern's in the right spot for the Kangaroos.
Rolling with the fluoro wheels this afternoon, as he is wont to do, Paul Ahern. He loves it as he kicks towards centre wing. Sherry had it punched away from him, and the Tigers a chance to go forward once again, but Graham just took it over the boundary line before he could get boot to ball. So we'll have a boundary throw in. With 5 minutes gone in this opening term, North Melbourne, the only team to score so far. They have one behind. Richmond yet to score in round 9 on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. Glad to be bringing this one to you from Arden Street. The first game at this ground for the year, as Garner's gang tackled by a couple of Tigers. Chol, one of them. That ball not coming out, will get a ball up.
North Melbourne are really defensively playing really good footy at the moment. Really won't let Richmond's game get going. So let's see how that works out for the rest of the game.
Tackling pressure was a feature of the Kangaroos game last night at Marvel Stadium, and they've started pretty well in that respect. Is the kick's marked by Garner, but he needs to get back behind his mark, or in fact the umpires will just have a bit of a conversation here as to whether that ball was out of bounds on the full or in fact juggled over the boundary line, and I think that is the resolution the two umpires have come to. So it'll be a boundary throw-in just forward of the wing from a North Melbourne perspective. Kicking to the Arden Street end in this opening term. They lead it by a point early going. Campbell once again decided to take it out of the ruck. Had 52 hit-outs last week. He's been a star so far this season, but the Tigers go towards half forward. Durden tracking back for North Melbourne, just got a handball away in hope more than anything else. Eventually Bailey Scott was there to meet it, and North Melbourne can clear. Campbell the target here, and he takes a good mark out in front.
52 hit-outs and 22 disposals last week for Tom Campbell. This is his 7th VFL game of the season towards half forward. Sherry flew, no mark was taken. Nice tackle by Garner. That's going to hold things up. Umpire calls for a ball up at half forward here. Only the one score, which is a minor one for North Melbourne here so far today. They are 14th on the ladder coming into round 9. Richmond is the benchmark and the last remaining undefeated team in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL, and that kick was shinned by Alex Morgan out of bounds on the full, and a free kick. Sorry, Aaron Hall that is, and a free kick going Richmond's way. It's going to be Connor Menadue to take it. Nine disposals at dream time at the G last week for Connor Menadue. One of 2 Tigers that played at the G. 3, I should say, out here today as we go inside 50. Diving effort. Is that a mark? It is. Well done, Beasley. Quick to get the hands off, and the Tigers now want to repel. Out of defensive 50. Menadue took 2 bounces and then hand passed awkwardly in board. Might result in a turnover. Working hard there. Ballard eventually won back by Ahern. We're inside 50. Desperate fist on the ball there by Miller. Beasley. Derek Egmalesi-Smith. He'll go short for Turner. They've worked it out nicely in the end, Tigers, but not yet completely out of danger. Ballard. Townsend. Beyond 50 now to kick down the line. Scored in front of the bench, and the mark's taken by Silvestro.
Right in front of our broadcast position is Tom Silvestro. Had the 8 disposals last week. Goes inboard and finds Menadue. He's been busy early on. Spots a man open just forward of the wing, and it's Mav Weller back into the lineup today. Sends it towards half forward, but the kick was tailor-made for Durden in the back position, and he took a nice mark. Kick across goal, flirting with danger somewhat, but Scott able to take the mark, and now he pops it over the top to Whitecross. But that's where the chain of play will come to an end, because Richmond have covered this up very nicely. Eventually Whitecross just has to send it long and hope for the best. Sherry got a hand to it. It was nudged under it slightly by Beasley, and over the boundary line it goes off hands. 1 behind North Melbourne. Richmond yet to score. We've played 9 minutes here at Arden Street. Around the grounds, 7-all between Box Hill and Williamstown in the early goings in that one. As the ball comes back into play, Graham looking to extract, pulled off his kick at the last moment, eventually gathered by Morgan, had support in the form of Cunningham, and he played the 1-2, mucking around with it a little bit by hand here at half-back, the Kangaroos. Eventually Morrison shovels it out, and the long kick comes. Sherry outnumbered on that occasion, and the Tigers will repel.
Goal to Jack Henderson for Werribee, 1-2-8. Casey Demons yet to score at Avalon Airport Oval as we go into attack here for the Tigers. Graham did well to read the tap there from Chol. The kick didn't go far. Did bounce in play. Hayden fumbled initially. Rioli to tackle on him, but did manage to get his hand pass out in the end. So the Kangaroos looking to work off the last line of defence, and now the afterburners here for Morgan. Received the handball from McKay. Not a great kick. Straight into the chest of Caulfield. Quickly dished off inside 50. Mark taken And a shot on goal is coming up for the Tigers through Will Coates.
Turnover to footy, cost you inside 50, and shot on goal for the Tigers. And that's what they prey on. Sides turning the ball over. The Richmond side's really good defensively, and a shot on goal.
Kick going toward the goal square, but marked on the last line of defence, and Kangaroos are out of danger. The mark was taken by Morrison. Need to get this kick away, and they do. Holmes in the region here, as well as Whitecross, but Egmalesi Smith was the one that read it well in flight. Takes the mark for Richmond. Plenty of yellow jumpers inboard. One of them belongs to Jacob Townsend. Over the top, plenty of space here for the Tigers. An easy kick inboard in the end, and the mark is taken. I think that's Manor. Slight angle, and will kick from about 45 metres. Tigers still scoreless. 10.5 minutes in.
And he loves the goal, Sean Manor. Anywhere the goals, he can have a shot on goal. He on the run, set shot at goal, and been a really good player up at North Albury, and Richmond gave him a chance, put him on the list, and he's been there a couple of years now.
Kicked 1 goal, 1 for the season, 9 disposals last week against Essendon, averaging 9.5. As he comes in, looked like it might have been off the side of the boot, but it is straight. Tigers strike first blood at Arden Street, 1 straight 6. North Melbourne 1 behind, 11.5 minutes into the opening term.
Yeah, really good setup by, as I said, turnover of football. North Melbourne just mucking around with the ball in their back half. Bad kick out of the fence, set up in inside 50, shot on goal. Manor kicks a goal. Pretty easy footy.
So the Tigers seem to have settled after North Melbourne got off to a good start in this one. Weren't able to put a goal on the board though, and it is the Tigers who have the first. They lead at 1 straight 6 to 1 behind after 12 minutes. Here on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. Hope you're enjoying the coverage, whether you're watching us on vfl.com.au or listening via SEN2. Glad to have your company. Back in the middle. A couple of superstars going at it in Chol and Campbell. Chol favoured by the bounce. Too much so, according to the umpire, and he'll ball it up. Just waiting for the players to reset. And away we go again with a throw. Campbell did well to just protect the drop zone. Ahern might have been dragged down without it. Umpire called play on. Scott gathered and sent a kick out wide for Morgan, but then he kept running, did Bailey Scott. Good running by the young man. Sends it out wide. Now the mark taken for North Melbourne. Left half forward. Forced to hold it up. Eventually an option comes. Campbell ran forward. He's in position 1A, and he's got the mark out in front.
Well called, Michael.
23rd man, Lockie McLean, the man that kicked it inside 50 there for North Melbourne.
So a big pack mark taken inside forward 50 by Tom Campbell, and North Melbourne a chance to kick their first of the afternoon.
Interested to see if Daniel Rioli's on limited minutes today, Stoney. He's just come off.
He's kicked 4 goals this season in the VFL, has Tom Campbell. This one is a pretty easy one for a player of his calibre, and he makes no mistake. North gets the quick response. They're 1-1-7, leading the Tigers 1 straight 6. We've travelled almost 14 minutes in the opening term.
I'll keep an eye on that, boys, about Daniel Rioli. As I said, just come off pretty good, looking okay, and cruising a bit at the moment, but he'll be just trying to get through the game, use his skills, and hopefully get a game next week, you would think.
Now, Stoney, El Jefe, Pierre, we know what he's busy doing over in Roland Garros at the moment, but he's told us to keep our EDFL mentions to a minimum today if we possibly could. I know it's an all EDFL call team here today. You're a life member of the Glenroy Football Club, as we know. There's an EDFL umpire out there. We've a couple of EDFL juniors running around for North Melbourne. We'll try our best to keep those to a minimum.
G'day, Pierre. Should be asleep.
He probably is. Back live here in the middle. Brewer, the clearance, but it doesn't go far. Graham held on to. Now trying to come crashing through is Silvestro. Ball up, still inside the centre square. That is umpire Michael Curtis, who throws it up. Sherry in the ruck at the moment. Did well to get his hand pass out. Robinson towards half forward, but again, it's Egmalesi Smith who has taken another intercept mark, almost a true centre half back. Asked to hurry up, and then the pressure came from Rovat. Hurried kick out wide, turnover, Whitecross, the chip inside 50. And North Melbourne maybe a chance for a shot on goal, and it's Lockie Hosey, the man that's come across from Glenelg, who's going to have a shot.
I just want to talk about Brendan Whitecross. He would have been sought after by that many VFL clubs, and very good choice by the North Melbourne Footy Club. And young Hosey, watch what happens. He kicks this goal, they'll get around him, no doubt about it.
Whitecross having a good season, 16.7 disposals on average per game as Hosey kicks. North Melbourne second, 2-1-13. Richmond 1 straight 6. And all but one teammate on the ground come across to congratulate him. He's on the board.
Well, a great moment for Lockie Hosey. His first goal in North Melbourne colours. He'll be hoping to make his AFL debut later this year, perhaps. But he comes across with a very impressive resume at Glenelg in the Sandful, and looking to build on that with the North Melbourne VFL team this afternoon. Kangaroos lead it by 7 points. They've steadied after Richmond did kick the first goal of the game. Now it'll be Coleman, Jones and Sherry in the ruck, as both Campbell and Chol look to be off the ground for a rest at the moment. Sherry had the run at that one and got first hands to it, but Townsend was there for Richmond. He's immediately set upon by Ahern. Needed to get the ball out and did. Now North a chance to go forward through Leonardis, but his kick intercepted, and now a chance for Richmond. Townsend had it punched away by Robertson, but then he went and laid a strong tackle on Aaron Hall. And plenty of Richmond fans here at Arden Street signal their appreciation for that effort by Jacob Townsend.
It is a good crowd too, guys. I just can't. There's a lot of people in front of this. Obviously, this side here where the broadcast is, but good crowd.
You're probably hearing the crowd through our effects mic. They have come out in numbers today. Both the North Melbourne and Richmond fans. As Ahern sends a Kangaroos inside 50. Hosey, has he got it again? He has paid the mark. And he's a chance to go back for 2 in a couple of minutes.
Likely tight. He's got a good set of hands and led out really well. Good kick though by Aaron Hall. And,
he's making a good impression, isn't he, Stoney?
He is early on, absolutely.
So in he comes for goal number 2, and to extend the North Melbourne margin to 13 points. He's made the goal umpire work a long way left, and that's where the kick stays. Through for a minor score. 2-2-14 the Kangaroos. Richmond 1 straight 6.
Connor Menadue to bring this in. Wants to go short to his right. That's okay for Hugh Beasley. Tigers want to use the Macaulay Road side of the ground. The long kick from Beasley, and unrealistic jump at the ball there by Sherry. That's not Sherry, that's Declan Watson. Gave away to free kick and half back. Silvestro, he'll go short. Not taken by Weller. Maverick Weller. Between wing and half back, and he sends a high right foot ball towards half forward. Coates with the late fist, ground level ball. Tigers won it, hacked it up toward half forward. Stays in play, at least momentarily, for Fletcher. Did well to get it to Silvestro, but he's rushed out of play by the tackle from Daniel Robinson. Boundary throw in inside 50 for the Tigers, who kicked the first goal of the game thanks to Sean Manor. And then North Melbourne's gone bang bang since. Through Tom Campbell and Lockie Hosey. Umpire brings it in. Hit ground level. Left it behind there, did Hall. Worried out of it. Now Campbell shrugged under one tackler. The ball gets cleared out. Credlin's underneath this one for the Tigers. Taylor won it for North Melbourne. Handball just missed Morgan, no. Now crashing through is Graham. Did well to get his hand pass out. Menadue, Weller inside 50 for Richmond toward the hot spot. Ballard got a push, and a legal push, and a free kick to North Melbourne.
So Kangaroos ball inside defensive 50. Tom Murphy takes the mark. Hasn't played since round 2 because of an ankle injury. So good to see him back out there. His kick looking for Hosey. Thumped over the line by Ben Miller, and he comes straight off the ground. So 2-2 plays 1 straight in favour of the Kangaroos. Over at Avalon Airport Oval, Werribee off to a good start against Casey. They lead it by a couple of goals. as we approach time on here at Arden Street. Taken by Collier Dawkins, shovels it out to Graham. Now he sweeps it out to Brewer, and inside 50 the Tigers go. Coates in the one-on-one, punched away by Durden, and run over the line by Crocker. Boundary line his best friend on that occasion. So it really is a mismatch this afternoon. The Tigers, of course, they're just flying at VFL level, undefeated, 7-0. The Kangaroos only 1-6. We saw them back in round 3 on Easter weekend, and they were hapless in a big loss to Essendon, but things seem to have improved. They've started well in this game, but they've turned it over coming out of defensive 50. Collier Dawkins puts it out in front of his teammate. He couldn't take the mark. It was Ballard. Had a couple of Kangaroos for close company, and now Watson caught in two minds for a moment, but he spots Taylor on the outer wing and he takes the mark.
Keilor Premiership player at 16 years old, Stoney, was Curtis Taylor, and now Hall at the top of 50. Kicks on the way. It's straight enough and long enough on the bounce. Goal number 3 for the Kangaroos, 3-2-20 Richmond. 1 straight 6, and Aaron Hall goes bang for goal number 4 of his season.
I'll tell you what, he really stretched that left hamstring out. He's just feeling for it. But on the counter attack, North Melbourne getting on the outside and getting to the goal and taking the ball. When they get it out in the open, they're really running hard and running forward, and it was a really good goal by Hall. Was going to look inside, but went longer and went through. Good spot, good shot on goal, and 6 points.
Had a big game last week, did Aaron Hall. 30 disposals and 9 tackles. Probably the only thing he didn't do was kick a goal, but he gets on the board nice and early in this one. He'll be looking to get back into that North Melbourne AFL side. Funnily enough, a difficult side to get into at the moment, but he's certainly doing his chances no harm. As we go back in the middle. Lovely bounce to get us going. Campbell won it down to Hall, but he just had his momentum shut down there, and now the Tigers go inside 50. The pass from Graham was an absolute sizzler down the throat of Ballard, and it's going to be a chance for Richmond to get the quick response.
That was like a rocket. The pass, it went 50 metres, then it went off the ground about 2 feet. Perfect pass.
I'm not sure Ballard's left forward 50 today so far. Definitely had a midfield, almost half-back kind of role last week, Michael.
He certainly did. I was a bit shocked when I looked at the stats and saw he only had 15 disposals. He had a profound influence on the game as he comes in and just hangs that one out to the right. He is the skipper this afternoon with no Steve Morris playing today, but he's missed that one. Tigers 1-1-7. They trail the Kangaroos 3-2-20.
Physio just out to Aaron Hall, just checking if he was all right. I just noticed that there was a little tightness in that left hamstring. Let's just watch that the rest of the time.
Nice kicking in by Sam Durden to find Robinson. Now to kick toward the outer side. Credlin went up, didn't bring the ball down. Townsend fumbled, and it's scored over the line by Brendan Whitecross. Boundary throw in. Around the ground, Stoney. Roy's down by a point. Boundary throw in. A few of your teams are in action today, Stoney. Tigers by a goal over Casey. Between wing and half forward here. Campbell grabbed it out of the ruck. I've got a feeling that throw-in fell a bit short. Goes out of play, will go again. Macaulay Road side of the grounds here. Great to have VFL footy back here at Arden Street. Did attend the JLT series game last year, I think, Michael, between Hawthorn and North Melbourne. The place did not look like this, I can tell you that, Stoney.
It didn't.
But it was a good atmosphere that day. We love coming back to the old suburban grounds. We called Richmond at their spiritual home last week at the Swinburne Centre, otherwise known as Punt Road Oval. So going back, Robinson, a hand pass, Durden, that's a spin away from danger, needed help. Hall brought down, umpire has not paid the high contact. He had a good view of it and called holding the ball. Did Michael Curtis, and a free kick going the Tigers' way. It's going to be taken by Naish. Having a very good season, averaging almost 26 disposals a game. Inside 50, Ballard takes a very nice mark, and he can correct the error of his previous shot, which went across the face. He's a little closer to goal this time around.
Do you know, you look at certain players in the VFL and they're really important. This bloke here is one of the most important players to his team in the VFL, Jacob Bell. He plays all over the shop, so having shot on goal now.
Only has 2 goals for the season, 2 goals 4 to be exact. 2 goals 5 after that point. You can now make that 3 goals 5 as he kicks the goal. Richmond 2-1-13, North Melbourne 3-2-20. Into time on opening term. We're not far away from the quarter time siren.
He's so dangerous because his hands are so strong. He's a big body player, and he looks like he's lined up at full forward today. So that'd be really a really hard matchup for Sam Durden or young Mackay, because he's got strong hands, good on the lead, and obviously, as you see, they kick on goal and kick the goal. So it's good.
He's certainly not the size of your average full forward, just the 189 centimetres. But as you said, Stoney, Sam Durden, the man playing on him at the moment, he's got a big size advantage, but just can't seem to keep up with him on the lead. He's been damaging so far in this contest, Jacob Ballard, and he lines up in the goal square once again. 7-point lead in favour of the Kangaroos. 26 minutes gone now, opening term. From the restart, Campbell stayed down, but read the bounce better in the air, and Richmond able to go forward once again through Naish. Had the last assist. He's
Ballard
looking for Ballard again, and he couldn't quite bring it in. Ballard, it bounced off his chest. North Melbourne defence under real pressure at the moment. Morrison switching kick needs to be good. They spoiled each other, did Campbell and Scott, but Campbell able to mop up eventually, and he finds White Cross on centre wing. His kick for Taylor, not a great one, has to paddle at a ground level. Eventually the help came, but there were more Tigers around it. Manor was one of those. He shot a handball back to Brewer. Now Weller just got around Hall with the sidestep and then brought it back out to the Macaulay Street side of the ground. Menadue one way then the other. Waited for Graham to come, and he did. Now the centering ball comes. Ballard the target again. Couldn't bring it in. Now Richmond not able to pick it up. There was Manor. And the Kangaroos able to sweep it away. Murphy over the top to Hall.
The handballs continue here for the Kangaroos. Holmes, hand pass was interesting to say the least. Coughed it up to Caulfield. Townsend, around one Kangaroo, then kicked into attack and found another Kangaroo with his pass. It was taken by Durden in the end. Here he goes short and wide to Tom Murphy.
Aaron Hall coming off the ground.
Already a fair bit of tape around his right leg, including his thigh, or both sides of his knee, above and below the knee. So he's coming off Aaron Hall, the former Gold Coast Sun. We might go around the grounds because the Suns are in action in the Expansion Cup against GWS. We might get those scores in a moment as the Kangaroos utilise the outer side once more. Menadue gets in front of Campbell, takes a nice relieving mark for the Tigers. Townsend's next in the chain. He goes short. Coleman Jones. Played at the MCG. Dreamtime at the G last week. 13 disposals, 10 hit-outs, and a behind to his name as we go towards half forward. There's a stay play here for Graham. I don't think he got boots of ball. Kangaroos won it back, and now it's Kyron Hayden that has it for North, and his kick, not sure it found its intended target, but it didn't matter in the end. Now Morgan runs through toward the middle of the ground, towards half forward. The kick was slightly overcooked. Derek Egmalesi-Smith, he's going to be brought down by Curtis Taylor. Hot ball to win here. Taylor got in again. Now trying to work his way through is Scott. Egmalesi-Smith did well to keep his feet. Brewer out to Naish. Tigers out of danger. Graham will take the mark on the outer wing.
He can get it and go, and that's exactly what he does because he has Coates up ahead. Charles all on his own inside forward 50, but the siren beats the kick. That would have been a certain mark inside forward 50 for the Tigers, but North Melbourne saved by the bell on this occasion, and at quarter time at Arden Street, they lead at 3-2-20 to the Tigers 2-1-13. Mark Stone
just a quick one. Aaron Hall gone in the rooms, boys.
Thank you, Stoney.
So Stoney will be in amongst the huddles at quarter time, and he'll have an interview with either David Loader or Craig McRae. But for now, we'll take a break with North Melbourne leading by 7 points.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 1116 SEN.
But it's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Live on SEN2 DAB+.
I'm a digital radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
There you go.
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer
Or check out digitalradioplus.com.au
and upgrade to digital.
Your Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL Club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coaches' huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Stuart Appleby has come from 7 strokes behind.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
Welcome back to Arden Street, quarter time, round 9 action in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Adam Sarri-Coglu, Michael Peppicelli, Mark Stone is in the huddles as we speak. And it is North Melbourne 3-2-20 leading Richmond 2-1, 13 goals for North Melbourne to Tom Campbell, Aaron Hall and the new man Lockie Hosey, who was a star at Glenelg and picked up in last week's mid-season draft for the Kangaroos. For Richmond, 2 of the VFL listed players have their goals in Sean Manor and today's captain Jacob Ballard in the absence of Steve Morris. Michael, we have a couple of stats thanks to Champion Data. All of this is on the VFL app. What have you got there?
So, Adam, an interesting stat coming up here. We know Essendon dominated the inside 50 count against the Tigers last week, but just couldn't put the score on the board. Well, this week, it's all happening in reverse. The Tigers are the ones with more inside 50s. They're leading 16-8 in that area. So they've doubled the number of inside 50s, but they've only managed the 3 scoring shots, whereas North Melbourne have been much more efficient with 5 scoring shots from their 8 inside 50s. So that'll be something Craig McRae will surely be talking to his troops about at quarter time. The disposal stats are fairly similar, as are the tackles. Tom Campbell is dominating the hitouts at the moment, which I guess not all that much of a surprise given how well he has played throughout the course of this season. Having a look at the individual stats, Jack Graham and Mav Weller both have 10 disposals apiece for the Tigers. They're the leading disposal winners on the ground. From a North Melbourne perspective, it's Bailey Scott leading the way with 8, and Paul Ahern has 7. And perhaps a surprise, Sam Durden with 6 early on. I guess that shows how much the ball's been down in defensive 50 for the Kangaroos.
Just spotted North Melbourne's new AFL coach, Rhys Shaw, making his way off the grounds after taking in a bit of David Loader's huddle around the grounds. 2 other games in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. And quarter-time score at Avalon Airport Oval, Werribee 4-3-27 leading Casey 2-2-14. Augurinos, Dom Brew, Henderson and Jake Riccardi, your goal kickers for Werribee, Bedford and McKelty Lafau have the goals for last year's runner-up. And it's Box Hill taking on at Williamstown at Box Hill City Oval. Early in the second term there, 3-5-23. The Box Hill Hawks and Williamstown 1-1-7. Ollie Hanrahan, Taya Miles and more, your goal kickers for Box Hill. In fact, Williamstown have just kicked their second. Hibbard and Thorpe. We are going to see Williamstown next week right here on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. It'll be the Seagulls and North Melbourne at, I think, Downer Oval it's called now, Point Gellibrand.
It certainly is. Make sure you bring your coats, Adam. It's going to be a windy day, no doubt, down there.
So Mark Stone is, I believe, in the North Melbourne huddle, and if we are a chance for Stoney to try and grab David Loader, we'll go straight down. Not sure Stoney can actually hear us as we speak. The North Melbourne huddle's just dispersed now. So Stoney's just waiting for Dave Loader to finish his current conversation with, I think that might be Ben McKay or maybe someone else. Now he's having another conversation with Tom Campbell. Very tight huddle that Craig McRae's conducting here for Richmond, and they're still receiving their instructions. So we're just waiting for Mark Stone to try and catch Dave Loader as he makes his way off the ground. I'm actually not that confident Stoney might get him because David Loader is having a lot of conversations with a lot of different people. Now he's having a chat to a water boy. Stoney, work your magic, please.
I will in a minute. You know.
He's trying to avoid you. He's still trying to. This is fascinating stuff right here. If you're listening to us on SEN2, there we go.
Good intent that first quarter.
Yeah, no, it was really pleasing actually. We were wrapped, and it's our first game back at Arden Street, mate. We'd like everyone that comes along today to view us as having a bit of that shinboner spirit. So the boys were good early.
Got him on the outside there a couple of times. Got the ball, bit of inside 50, and a couple of goals there.
Yeah, I think if we use our ball movement well enough, we'll get an opportunity forward of the ball. It's they're a really good side. They're undefeated for a reason. So we've got a battle on our hands, but we're really enjoying how it looks at the minute, mate. So
thanks, champ.
Great work on the boundary there, Stoney. Great effort to get David Loader, and a big thank you to David Loader as well for donating a little bit of his time just to get a little bit of an insight into the way he addressed his team at quarter time. As he said, first game back at Arden Street. This redevelopment is supposed to be done in time for the AFLW season, but didn't quite get there. This is the first game back since the $10 million redevelopment, I believe. So a great day for the North Melbourne Footy Club, and they've started well.
And a few extra people coming to the ground too, building up nicely the crowd.
Free entry if you're somewhere around Arden Street, want to take a look at what's happening here in the Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL. You can get in for nothing today. As the second term's underway, and it's Townsend who sends the Tigers up towards half forward. Coleman Jones fell over. No mark taken. Hand pass out. Leonardis left it behind. Had to go back and fetch. Did well to get it to Ahern. Went to his fellow Keilor Jr. and Taylor. Couldn't take the mark. Caulfield just worried out of it. Lost the pill. Ahern gets it back. Hand pass in board. Child with the tackle. Ball came out. Ahern gets another touch. This time he finds Curtis Taylor on the outskirts of 50. Sends it inside for North Melbourne. Ball fisted away down there by Menadue. Now Silvestro comes crashing through. Hand pass to an under pressure Beasley. Now Holmes just gets boots of ball. Not sure it travelled 15. Might not matter. The snap towards goal bounces toward the boundary lining. Goes out of play. There might be a Tiger down. There's two trainers making their way out. I think it is Hugh Beasley. Up on his feet now, but a little worse for wear.
That was Bailey Scott, the man who had the snap, but he was under pressure and just wasn't able to get it through for a score. But perhaps a better result than a behind for North Melbourne, because they get a boundary throw in a dangerous position. Chol read that one better in the air. Now a big pack of players around it. Rovat, the man laying the tackle on Collier Dawkins. And we'll get a ball up. Still inside forward 50 for the Kangaroos. Sherry tapped it down, but straight to Naish, who's up and under kick outside defensive 50. That's a nice mark taken with the one paw by Murphy. A chance for the Kangaroos to set up forward of the ball. Murphy goes long to the hot spot. Chol's there, but so too is Sherry. He didn't quite bring it down. Here's White Cross, wants to get back onto his right. Instead, handball. Rovat's good in these situations. The snap is coming back, but not enough. Through for a minor score, 3-3-21 the Kangaroos. North Melbourne, Richmond 2-1-13, almost 2 minutes gone, second term.
Ekmalesi Smith to bring this one back in for the Tigers. Looking toward this broadcast side of the ground. Now he's looking toward the outer side. That's where he'll go as he escapes the goal square and puts it onto the left boot. It's cleared 50. Miller was there. Townsend did well on the bounce. Hand pass out to Naish, and the Tigers are out already across halfway. Two bounces for Naish. Hand pass off. Did well to get it to Rioli. Didn't really call his name out all in the first quarter. Rioli gets it inside 50 for Weller. No mark was taken. Hayden there just got the fist in. Naish, little chip in board. Plenty of yellow jumpers, and one of them is Tom Silvestro. Wants to play on now. He's going to go back and have a think about a set shot.
Collier Dawkins off the ground, boys. Just got a knock to the calf, getting his calf taped at the moment.
Can see that.
So he's off at the moment. I reckon he'll go back on just a precaution, get some tape around that.
And some injury news in the first quarter as well concerning the Tigers. Was there, Stoney, or was it Aaron Hall, sorry, for North Melbourne? Yep. Well, hold your thought there, because Silvestro's kick is in flight. And it's going to fall short, is it? No, the umpire's going to give that a goal. Tigers get the first of the second term, and it's a 2-point game here. 3-1-19, Richmond, North Melbourne 3-3-21. Here's Mark Stone, boundary side.
Yeah, so in the first quarter, I'm not sure Aaron Hall's back on the ground as yet, but he was kicking for goal. When he kicked that goal, I just see him feel for his left hamstring, and I knew he was struggling, so he's back in the rooms at the moment getting some treatment, so I'll try and get some information at half-time about that.
That could be a big injury for North Melbourne. Aaron Hall has been a prime mover for them this season. He's shuttled a lot between AFL level and VFL level, but we know what kind of player he is when up and going. So that could be a big loss for the Kangaroos this afternoon in their quest to hand the Tigers their first loss of the VFL season. Back in the middle. Campbell had the run at that one and took it out of the ruck in the end. Shot a handball out to Ahern, and inside 50 the Kangaroos go once again. Whitecross playing out of the square led to it. Handball off to Garner. Now a chance for Holmes. His handball though, getting a crucial hand in there was Egmalesi Smith, but still going is Holmes, trying to burrow it forward. The forward pressure is really good from the Kangaroos here, but Richmond just able to get it outside of the danger zone. Gathered by Graham, and now Menadue. He can turn on the Jets. Goes for a bounce and finds Naish. Kick in board, perfectly weighted for Ballard. And Durden just held him up, but he was able to take the mark at centre half forward. Can't quite make the distance from there, and the kick inside forward 50, a disappointing one. Morgan takes the mark and goes short for Durden.
Right in the middle of defensive 50. And he does not want to kick this ball, it would seem. Holding on for as long as he possibly can. Then went short, barely 15 for Mackay. Now it's in the hands of Ahern. Leonardis next in the chain. Careful build up here by North Melbourne. Leonardis kick towards half forward. That's okay for Rovat. Too far out to score. Rovat, the chip into Ward. 50 is nice. A lovely little deft pass. And a shot on goal coming up for the Kangaroos to be taken by Kyron Hayden.
So when you see Richmond get the ball on the outside, it really can round out when they get their play going. So North has to make every post to win it. Every time they have a shot on goal, they've got to convert, because Richmond will make them pay the other way. It
was a really nice build-up, perfect kicking by foot, just to pick their way through to Richmond press, and it results in a shot on goal for Kyron Hayden. 1 goal, 2 for his season. Playing his 8th game here in the VFL, and it's a perfect kick. Perfect build-up and a perfect finish. And North extend their lead to 8 points once more. 4-3-27, Richmond 3-1-19. 6 minutes into the second term. Hard Jacket Totally Workwear. VFL Live, round 9 action from Arden Street.
Yeah, as I said, you've got to convert. North Melbourne have to convert every time they go inside their 50. Nice goal from Hayden. And just gives a little buffer there again. And just got to keep their nose in front.
He was delisted and re-rookied by the North Melbourne Footy Club last year. Kyron Hayden is having another good season in the VFL, averaging just under 12 disposals per game. He is a tackling machine as well.
Aaron Hall back on the boundary line, doing some run-throughs now, so come from out inside the room. So he's obviously had some treatment. See how he goes at the physio.
Still the same taping around his right leg?
Yeah, it might be a bit extra on there.
So perhaps some good news for North Melbourne. They lead it by 8 points. Richmond looking to win the clearance here. Townsend overran it, but allowed Weller to pick it up, and now Brewer pumps it high and long inside forward 50.
Well done.
Coates was charging in from the goal square to make a contest of it, but Mackay had best position and took the mark. Goes wide for Durden, and now Morgan and Campbell need to communicate here, and I don't know if there was all that much communication, as much as Campbell just backing off and allowing Morgan to take the mark. Either way, it was clever. Morgan's kick towards half forward. Too tall for Holmes. Now Garner applying the pressure at ground level, taken by Silvestro. In fact, it was Credlin, kept it in. And the Tigers clear, but Watson had it go through his hands, and then he gave away a free kick for a push in the back. Jacob Townsend's ball, just short of centre wing from a Richmond perspective. They trail by 8 points, 8 minutes into this second term. The Kangaroos have pushed back hard defensively, so Townsend just has to pop it up, and it's an absolute wobbler. Campbell in best position and takes the intercept mark.
Looking inboard, here's Campbell. If he goes the other way, you'll see Morgan free, but he goes straight down the line in the end, and all's well that ends well, because Taylor Garner takes the mark, but he kicked it to an interesting situation where Turner had the jump. Kangaroos retain possession, at least for the time being. Watson had it go through his hands, needed some help. Now Morgan, hand pass over the top, does well to set up Leonardis. Kick to half forward, but there's a sweeper back there for Richmond. Kick comes inboard now. Brewer. Turner looking to complete the switch toward the outer side. The mark was taken nicely by Menadue. Took a bounce, right foot, all the way to the hot spot. Coleman Jones in position A. Can't take the mark. It almost bounced back his way. Picked up there by Cunningham. Hand pass off. Leonardis. He'll take the mark for the Kangaroos and going short for Garner. Hand pass toward the corridor. Robinson towards centre wing. Underneath it there was McLean, the 23rd man today for the Kangaroos. Going into the deck.
Aaron Hall back on the ground.
So going into the deck there for Richmond was Chad Harris, their 23rd man. Ball up. Left half forward here. Umpire throws it up. Campbell tries to win it down toward Garner, but his run at the ball was interrupted. Now to kick towards centre wing. He's fisted out of play. Boundary throw in front of the gates. That'll allow both sides to get a couple of changes in. Fletcher comes on for Credlin. Collier Dawkins back on the ground as well for the Tigers. Throw in, Stoney, right literally between the two gates of respite here.
Literally.
Right bang in the middle. Umpire brings it in. Morgan, good body on body there with Silvestro. Got his hand pass out. Ahern's having a good day. Hall's back out there and he's the target of the kick. No mark taken. Rovat in front of Caulfield. Fumbled initially. Hand pass. Hall with the snap. And a goal for the Kangaroos. 5-3, Richmond, 3-1, 10 gone second term. A 14-point lead for North Melbourne at Arden Street.
There's no doubt Aaron Hall is a very special player. The way he tracked the ball then and followed the ball and he knew exactly where the ball was going to go. He missed it the first time, but he knew where the handball pass was going to come. He was at the end of it, and that's why he's a really good player and a smart player. And really good left foot snap for 6 points, and another 6 points that they had said have to convert. Daniel Rowley comes off the ground.
Graham comes on, so a couple of AFL Premiership players from 2017. Currently running around for this VFL unit for the Tigers. That's a good sign of the depth they do have. We know the AFL side is battling for personnel right now, but the VFL side is held up.
Do you want a funny story?
Thank you.
I remember as Aaron Hall was an 18-year-old, putting together a Hollows package in Tasmania, and he actually come to a mate of mine's house. It was a video person, and he put it together for him. So there you go. That was a long time ago.
For those new to the coverage, Mark Stone is the man that discovered Ben Brown.
He's put together a pretty good AFL career, has Aaron Hall, 29 years old now. 28, in fact.
You're a hero around here, aren't you, Stoney, after landing North Melbourne Ben Brown via Werribee?
Move on then.
I have no idea what's going on, so I'm just going to call the play. Inside forward 50, go the Tigers.
Get off doing that, Marvel.
And Watson comes across and takes the intercept mark for North Melbourne. Goes short and finds Durden. He's had plenty of the ball so far, Sam Durden. That kick's a dangerous one, but it'll stay inside the field of play for Murphy to take the mark. Over at Avalon, it's Werribee leading Casey by 25 points as Murphy's kick is long towards centre wing. Big pack of players around it. And the Tigers have given away a free kick. It'll be Sherry's ball right in front of our broadcast position here at Arden Street Oval. Bereft of any short options, he just pounds it long towards half forward. No one able to take the mark. Miller mopped up for Richmond. Got a kick away.
Well done.
Courageous stuff from a couple of players there, and the mark Taken by Nash Holmes. His kick spearing inside forward 50. Just a little bit overcooked there for Ahern. The Tigers defence holding on for dear life here, but it'll come straight back as Holmes takes the mark. Inside forward 50 he goes. It's into the path of Hall. It's into the path of a couple of Tigers as well. Collision came. Rovat, snap, intercept mark. Richmond get a reprieve.
Yep, Caulfield takes it for the Tigers. Good game of footy this one. North Melbourne, who are the underdog here, leading by 14 points. And that's a nice mark by Nash Holmes after what was a pretty scrappy kick. And he's thinking about a shot.
Just North Melbourne is putting a lot of pressure on the ball carrier from Richmond. Richmond, we've known in the past that they just run free-flowing football and just link up nicely. North Melbourne are really defensively playing a really good game and get themselves opportunity at shot on goal, which is really good. Nash
Holmes has kicked 4 goals for so far this season for the Kangaroos. He'll kick from right on the digits, paints it on the ground here. On the way, it's drifting left to right. And distance was maybe an issue as well. It helicoptered through for a minor score.
It's like an outswinger, that one.
Yep, 5-4-34 North Melbourne. Richmond 3-1-19. Egmalesi Smith goes short, finds Miller. Again, a couple of Tigers trainers out on the ground at the moment. They've been in the wars a little bit today, Richmond. Certainly not a great night for the club last night at Marvel Stadium as the ball slips out of play. Chad Harris there, the 23rd man. Playing his 3rd game of VFL football. Boundary throw in. Front of the recreation area, Stoney. A couple of kids playing basketball, and
it's good, isn't it?
There's a soccer pitch there as well.
Really good.
Nice little recreational hub now here at Arden Street. Might go shoot some hoops at half-time with Michael Pipicelli. That's going to bounce in play and stay in play. Rioli trying to set up Chol. Finally, the ball escapes the field of play, and we've got a boundary throw in.
A lot of activity on the bench, boys. See Craig coaching from the boundary, as he has done the last 3 or 4 years.
So we're about maybe 60 out from the Tigers' goal here. That'll be once the ball lands in front of the 2 ruckmen. Throw in might have fallen a little short. Sherry claims it, and then Chol claims him. Umpire crosses his arms. 15-point ball game in favour of North Melbourne. Aaron Hall has 2 goals to his name. Umpire throws it up. Sherry in front of Chol. Nice tackle there by Graham. Chol. That one was allowed to hit the deck. Ahern gave off his handball, and Cunningham's kick is nicely marked by Taylor. Made his debut a couple of weeks ago at AFL level. He goes inboard for Hall. On centre wing, one way to the other. Did well to get around his fellow 43 and Egmalesi Smith.
See that?
All the class on show there, and he hits up Taylor Garner.
See that move? He just a bit of wiggle of the hips and a bit of a sidestep, and that shot on obviously inside 50 and shot on goal.
He's come off again, Stoney, as well after all that.
Yeah,
still looking slightly proppy, but
he's all right.
Yeah, he's all right. So Taylor Garner. This will be a game-high lead if he can kick this one for North Melbourne. It'll go out to 21 points. Hooked it off the boot, and it was never coming back. 5-5-35, Richmond 3-1-19, approaching time on second term.
16-point ball game at Arden Street Oval. Menadue to kick it in for Richmond. Called to move it on. And goes by hand to Beasley. Needs to be quick, and he is, to a 2-on-2. Plenty of tall timber there, but Weller read it best off hands. He can give it off to Graham. Thought about taking on Holmes, but turned it over with the handball to Morgan. And North Melbourne a chance to steady as Cunningham sends it out wide for Mackay. Brings it in board, and Cunningham takes the mark just in front of a voracious Mav Weller. 17 minutes gone, second term. The Kangaroos lead it by 16 points. Kick towards centre wing. Garner tried to claim the mark, but it wasn't paid. Kicked it, but was partially smothered, and Collier Dawkins there for Richmond, gives it off to Menadue. Had a good game so far. That kicks it up and under. North Melbourne had the 3-on-1, but couldn't take the mark. And out of bounds, perhaps a good result for the Tigers on that occasion.
Yeah, right about that. North did have 3-on-1 there, and ball went out of bounds, so didn't want much talk there. Could have talked a bit more.
35 plays 19. First game of the season at Arden Street Oval on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. As the ball spins back into play, Scholl got first hands to it, but Hayden read it best. Handball intercepted by Ballard, who's been thrown into the middle. Now Turner, who's been a little bit quiet today. Certainly more quiet than he was last week. Fletcher read it off hands. He's taken in a strong tackle by Durden. And we'll get a ball up at centre half forward.
Tigers looking good against Casey around the ground. 6-3-39, Casey 3-2-20, and a 4-point lead for Box Hill over Williamstown, 4-6-30 to 4-2-26. As Graham sends Richmond inside 50, Mackay misread it in flight. A couple of Kangaroos back there, so they will work it out. Cunningham to Mackay. The kick was slightly overcooked there for Crocker. Out of play. It's a 16-point ball game at Arden Street. Nice crowd in after the Kangaroos scored a very impressive 6-goal win over Richmond last night at Marvel Stadium in the AFL. The VFL team is looking good so far to go the double as Whitecross. His kick is not that great. Beasley, Hall did fall down as the ball was coming in, so it was an uncontested mark in the end for Beasley. That was a very short rest on the bench there, Stoney.
Not much rest these days.
Yeah. So Graham up towards half forward looking for Ballard. Off hands it came. Ballard goes in for a second dip. Hot ball to win. Turner was in there to help out. The hand pass came forward. Durden, he's dispossessed. Tigers now maybe a chance as Ballard gets his hand pass off. Rioli's kick to the top of the square. No mark was taken. Silvestro with the soccer skills. Kicks the goal and Richmond get one back. 4-1-25 to 5-5-35. 10-point ball game in favour of North Melbourne. We're almost into time on of the second term.
Sometimes you can kick goals that against the flow, and that certainly was a great soccer goal and against the flow. And North Melbourne were defending really well then, but a good goal from the Richmond team.
2 goals this quarter for the Tigers, both coming off the boot of Tom Silvestro.
Carefully the Tigers with 6-6-6. A lot of interchanges.
Sometimes you just need to scrounge them any way you can. It's been a tough quarter for them, but they're still within 10 points. 2 goals each in this second term, but feels like North Melbourne has had the better of it. But not too much damage done on the scoreboard. The margin 10 points. At quarter time it was just the 7 points, so virtually the same. As Coleman, Jones and Campbell go at it.
Free kick.
Clear free kick there. Campbell dragged down high by Coleman Jones. And he'll take the free. Doing well to come across there was Harris. Affected the contest and now Richmond away. Mark is paid. It might be Nelson on the outer side. Wants to go immediately. Wasn't a great kick. Campbell just thumped it off the bounce. Taken now by McLean, worked his way through some traffic nicely. Now Hayden, and Morgan has a man on the outside. It's Whitecross. Goes back inboard, put the little sidestep on Egmalesi Smith and sends it high towards half forward. Taylor had it punched away from him. Caulfield playing his 50th game this afternoon for the Tigers. Clears defensive 50. And a good mark taken by Egmalesi Smith. He wanted to handball off hands and knees. Not a great idea. Turnover is affected. And the mark taken by McLean inside forward 50 for the Kangaroos.
It was a great turnover, and now they've got a shot on goal. Just really good, again, good defensive play. Just attack the ball carrier and get shots on goal.
Stoney, just to your right, Jack Graham with the trainer off the ground at the moment, going through a bit of a walk, maybe a conversation with one of the trainers.
Yeah, it's nothing too dramatic yet, but I'll keep an eye on it.
Kicked a goal last week from his 7 disposals, did Lockie McLean. This one's a tough one. It's across the face of goal. Won't make the distance. Eventually thumped over the boundary line by a Tigers defender.
That's a deliberate punch out of bounce on the full.
Free kick.
Richmond, so free kick to North Melbourne.
And it's going to be Curtis Taylor's ball. Kicked the 1-goal-2 last week. He's certainly capable from this position, right next to the behind post. Right foot banana is what he'll go with, and he'll put it through for North Melbourne 6. 6-5-41, the Kangaroos leading Richmond 4-1-25. We're ticking towards 23 minutes gone in this second term, and the Kangaroos really need to get some value for money for their dominance.
Around the ground, Jack Charleston has kicked a goal for Williamstown. They're now in front over Box Hill, 4-6-30 the Hawks. Seagulls 5-3-33.
So 11 shots to 5 at this stage, 23 minutes gone. So you're right, North Melbourne had a lot of opportunities, but they haven't scored. But that free kick obviously is in the book. You punch the ball out of bounds on the full, the free kick goes to the opposition. Have a shot on goal, use a banana, kick a goal, and 6 points.
Next week on Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL Live, it will be Williamstown up against North Melbourne. Myself and Michael. Stoney, will you be there?
I'll be there next week. I'm on the boundary.
Right. Same trio as what you have today. Hope you're enjoying the coverage so far. SEN2, VFL.com.au. Leonardis as North Melbourne going to attack once more. Inside 50 we go. Going up, no mark taken, Hosey. Ground level ball here. Tigers need to work it out. Egmalesi Smith. That was a better handball that time to Turner. Down the line for Brewer. Just behind Drew, centre wing. He took the mark, got it off to Menadue. Interesting bounce. Did well in the end to get around Hayden, his fellow 37. Inside 50 for Richmond. No mark taken by Miller. Rioli tried to come crashing through. Kangaroos had numbers. Watson, hand pass off to Crocker. Under some pressure, not a great kick for Ahern. Chol, how was the sidestep? Then the kick, it was off the side of the boot though. Good build-up, disappointing result. 4-2-26 Richmond, North Melbourne 6-5-41, 24 and a half into the second term.
You see Chol do something like that, Adam, and you forget he's 200 centimetres tall. That was just agility at its highest level as the kick in is marked by Campbell, his opposing ruckman. Now Ahern goes short for Hayden. It's been quiet today, Chol. Certainly not as dominant as last week. As Hayden called to move it, wants to play the 1-2 with Murphy. Gets it back, but he's crunched by a couple of Tigers. Chol and Townsend. That's not a situation you want to be in, and now the Tigers can affect the turnover. The mark double grabbed by Coleman Jones. Spots something he likes on the outer side. Needing to be good here is Manor. He was dragged down high, but he won't get a free kick. Durden gives a handball off to Robinson. He had a fumble. Dangerous stuff here for North Melbourne. Watson had his handball smothered, and good forward pressure by the Tigers sees the ball out of bounds.
Sean Manor could have got a free kick then. No point missed that one, but they've now got a possible chance in their forward 50.
They trailed by 15 points to the Tigers. 25 and a half minutes gone, second term. And they have a chance to conjure up a goal here, but Campbell reads it best, gives it off to Holmes, and North Melbourne able to clear. Plenty of numbers around this ball, eventually picked up by Hayden. Ahern quick thinking to get boot to ball almost instantaneously. The tap on by Sherry was clever. Now a chance for North Melbourne. The opens up. Rovat didn't lose his feet. Left foot snap is a goal. End-to-end stuff by the Kangaroos.
Great football, just really good football. Good defence. Ahern, obviously Rovat. Aaron Hall was there also, but a good left foot snap.
Now Stoney, all the way back play on the other side of the ground. Tom Campbell was really slow to get up from that contest in the back pocket. He's now making his way off with the trainer. Doesn't look to be too hampered, but maybe something else to keep an eye on there for the North Melbourne supporters.
He's had a great game so far. You talk about experience, Tom Campbell against young Chol, and Campbell, just his body strength was able to get him around the ground. And seems okay, just a bit of a knock there.
11 disposals, 16 hit-outs. You know how to pick him, Stoney. He's had a very good day statistically.
He has. He's a good... just you can see his dominance around the ground. He's been good.
This is a very good performance by North Melbourne. They've only won one game so far this year. That was against Geelong 3 weeks ago. You mentioned in the first quarter, Michael, we called a very poor performance against Essendon. That was a 94-point loss in round 3 at Avalon Airport Oval. They have improved since North Melbourne, and right now they are in the best form they've been in all season here in the Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL, as we have a secondary ball up called for by umpire Sam Ferguson. Still inside the centre square.
With that, North Melbourne have to just keep this defensive pressure up all game because we know Richmond will come.
Chol hacked it inside 50, almost a mark by Crocker. He was working on Rioli. That ball's not coming out. Now maybe a Chol. Is he okay? Yep, just a bit slow to get up. He stays inside the centre square. We've got a ball up in the hot spot here. For the Tigers, need a steadier. Umpire throws it up. That's umpire Michael Pell. Coleman Jones, ground level ball here. Now tackled by Weller and Graham. Pelly crosses his arms once more.
Campbell looks to be headed off to the room, so perhaps a chance here for Richmond to take advantage of his absence at the stoppages.
Well, we're at the 28-minute mark, so there wouldn't be much time left, I reckon.
Ahern's little kick out does work out. He's combined a couple times with Curtis Taylor today. His kick out to space. Got a foot race for it. Hosey pushed out of it by Igmalesi Smith. He did well to win it back for the Tigers. Silvestro, the handball out to stretch for it. Nice smother. Taylor's having a good game for the Kangaroos. Boundary throw in. Just forward of centre wing for the Tigers. Brendan Whitecross and Aaron Hall waiting to come back out onto the ground for North Melbourne. Chol in the ruck against Sherry. Ballard didn't get his kick away. Umpire might have been blindsided. Townsend goes in to lock it up. Ball for Kangaroos waiting to come on here.
Sherry copped the duty. Yeah.
He's slow to get up as well. It's been a very physical second term. Hall does make his way back out. On managed minutes, clearly, is Aaron Hall today. Chol, only ruck in the contest, so he grabbed it and hacked it towards half forward. Weller scoops it up illegally. It was a throw. Free kick for North Melbourne. Free kick's going to be taken by Declan Watson. Wants to switch across defensive goal. That's always dangerous, so he goes down the line. Kicks it to centre wing. Nice mark, Igmalesi Smith.
Trainers are trying to get young Tristan Sherry off there. I'm checking for concussion.
Igmalesi Smith now has 5 marks to his name.
And he sends it long with the left foot towards half forward. Ballard in good position for the Tigers. Big pack and forms and off hands. Quick snap by Manor. Won't make the distance. Morrison did well to run across. And North Melbourne can clear. Morgan wants to take a couple on. Dangerous stuff, but they might work it out okay. Hayden working in tight quarters. Gives it back to Morgan and he just spirals it out of there, but only as far as Beasley. It's going to come straight back. Igmalesi Smith takes it. Too far out to score. Handball off to Ballard. Then playing around with it here, the Tigers. But eventually the mark taken by Graham, who wants to play on. And he finds his teammate Townsend well within scoring range.
So North Melbourne has their 2 big men. Tristan Sherry's gone in the rooms as well as Big Tom Campbell. So that's interesting to see what happens at half time, yeah?
Perhaps rather fortuitous that Graham was quick moving on there because the siren sounded not long at all after Townsend took that mark. And he can go back, kick from about 45 metres out to give the Tigers some momentum heading into the main break. Had a big game last week with 16 disposals, 5 tackles and 1 goal too. Yet to kick a goal this afternoon. This to reduce the margin to 15 points heading into half-time. But you heard the groans of the crowd. That one started right and never quite came back. Just snuck in for a behind in the end. And at half-time here at Arden Street Oval, it's North Melbourne 7-5-47, leading the Tigers 4-3-27.
Couple of stats before we take our half-time break here. For North Melbourne, Paul Ahern has 15 disposals, having a good game. Sam Durden, Kyron Hayden, Alex Morgan all have 12. Tom Campbell 11 and 16 hitouts, along with a goal. Might well be the best on ground so far today. Tom Campbell, Bailey Scott has 9. For the Tigers, Jack Graham's up to 17 disposals. 11 of those are kicks, 3 marks, 2 tackles. Connor Menadue and Mav Weller both have 12, and then 11 each for Derek Igmalesi Smith and Blake Brewer. We may as well go to the ones that have 10 disposals. Jacob Ballard, Paddy Naish and Jacob Townsend. So we quickly have a look at some team stats. We'll go around the grounds as well before we take our break. Tackle count is being led by the Tigers, 20 to 16, 23 hitouts to 8 in favour of North Melbourne. Inside 50s are +8 for the Tigers. And marks 56 to 42 in favour of North Melbourne. Let's go around the grounds. Firstly, in the hardjacker, Totally Workwear VFL, Michael Peppicelli.
Thanks, Adam. Over at Box Hill City Oval, it's a tight one. The Seagulls leading the Hawks by 3 points at half-time. And over at Avalon Airport Oval, it's Werribee 7-4-46, leading Casey 3-4-22. So they're off to a good start, the Tigers.
Around the grounds in the AFL, Collingwood by 13 points over the Dockers and GWS by 19 over the Gold Coast Suns. Here at Arden Street, North Melbourne 7-5-47 lead Richmond by 20 points in the VFL 4-3-27. We will take a quick break here and we'll be back right after this.
Your hard yakka Totally Workwear VFL club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coach's huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
I'm a digital radio.
And I'm a digital TV. Now, you may remember when TV went digital.
Yes, and you got a lot more channels and a better picture.
Well, buying a digital radio is the same.
Exactly. I've got up to 30 extra radio stations, plus all your old faves, and I sound amazing.
Yeah, but I look amazing.
Yeah, but this is a radio ad, so no one can see you.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to hear this station like you have never heard it before,
buy a digital radio.
Head into your nearest retailer and upgrade to digital.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 1116 SEN.
But it's your job. We'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL, live on SEN2 DAB+.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Looks to be the last game of the first set. Almagro leading 5-3.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
Coming to you live from Arden Street Oval. North Melbourne 7-5-47, Richmond 4-3-27, a 20-point lead for the Kangaroos at half-time. It is round 9 in the hardjacker. Totally Workwear VFL around the grounds. 2 more games taking place, and they're both at the half as well. Williamstown 5-3-33 leading Box Hill 4-6-30, and Werribee are having a good day against Casey at Avalon Airport Oval. 7-4-46 are the Tigers. Casey 3-4-22. As always, during this halftime break, we'll take you back to the VFL Hour on 1116 SEN with Jack Heverin earlier in the week. We'll go to that now, and then we'll come back and be ready for the second half. Here it's North Melbourne 7-5-47, Richmond 4-3-27.
Get involved in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Visit vfl.com.au.
But it's been a massive week for the VFL. So much speculation around who would and who wouldn't be taken in the AFL mid-season draft. In the end, only 2 players have been taken in the draft. They are Kyle Dunkley, who has gone to Melbourne, and Ryan Gardner, who the Western Bulldogs actually elevated onto their senior list, or the rookie listed him as part of the mid-season draft. But both those players actually came from Footscray's VFL side. Their assistant coach, and he is a grand final winner, a premiership winner with the Dogs VFL side in 2016. Anthony Barry joins me now, an assistant coach with the club. Hello, Anthony.
Hello, mate.
I'm well. How are you all feeling after what's an incredibly, I suppose, special night last night for those 2 boys in Kyle Dunkley and Ryan Gardner to get, and in Ryan's chance, another chance on an AFL list. You must be incredibly proud.
Yeah, very proud of the boys, mate. But it's to their credit, they've done the work. You know, ever since Gardy came along, his first session, he would just put his head down and he did everything right. He was always looking to improve his game and find out where he could do better. And he constantly was doing that. And same with Dunk. He's having his brother. I think that was a really good help. He's really living with him and just learning the ways of an AFL footballer. And both to their credit, their work ethic was fantastic.
It was great scenes. If you were watching Fox Footy last night, where they had the camera at the Dunkley household, and Dad was there, and Mum and the whole crew, and Josh as well. So it was a really special moment, and we'll get to them. But Ryan Gardner, what an amazing... This is a fantastic story. This young bloke spent 3 years on Geelong's list and wasn't able to crack it for a senior game, I don't believe. Was delisted at the end of last year. He's been working as behind a bar, steam cleaning carpets and working in a warehouse whilst playing footy for you guys, and he finally gets his chance again. Tell us about him.
He is an exceptional young man, mate. He's a great fella. And, like I said before, he just, being in that AFL system, I think he just knew what was required and sometimes need that little kick in the gut, in the arse. And he just knew the first day he came, he just brought that intensity of AFL standard, and he trained like that week in, week out. And he was always constantly grabbing the coaches, assistant coaches, and working out what could he do better, just the little intricacies of his game. And I suppose that's the benefit of being in a AFL, VFL program, that having the facilities of the AFL there and the AFL coaches and players having access to them all. There's a wealth of knowledge there around him, and he just took full advantage of it and got the most out of it. And, now he's found himself on a list, which is great.
And even better still, you probably thought, oh, well, it's great that he's come from Western Bulldogs VFL and now he's a Western Bulldogs AFL player, but we'll probably have him this week. No, you won't. It's been confirmed by Josh Dunkley that Ryan Gardner will actually make his debut this week against the Eagles.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's great for him, and it's great reward for effort. He's put his head down and done the work, and he gets repaid for it, and it's great. And everyone at the club's really proud of him and knows that he'll give it his all and play his role, and that's all that's expected of him, which is great.
And I suppose on the flip side of that, it'll be quite strange that you'll see that, we don't think that Kyle will play for Melbourne this week in the seniors. We don't know that yet. They haven't named their team, but you could be coming up against him very soon as an opposition player in the VFL level.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's up playing AFL level.
Yep.
That's why they've drafted him for a reason, and hopefully, he has a crack. But knowing the character of person he is, I'm sure he'll do everything he can to get a game and hold his position as well. So good luck to him.
Hey, speaking to Anthony Barry, Footscray assistant coach, he was a premiership player in 2016 with the Footscray's VFL side. Now the assistant coach and the runner. What's your take on the mid-season draft? The Sandful have come out pretty strongly saying that they are happy for the people that got drafted, but they don't support the mid-season draft. They think it leaves them short of players now, and they don't feel like they're getting compensated properly. What's your take on their response, and do you share the same view?
Not really. It doesn't really bother me too much. I think these boys, it's a development pathway, where they're, especially at the Footscray, to give the best environment for AFL listed players to play the best footy and get back into the seniors. And I think for our VFL talent that we want to, that's something that's a bit of a draw card that, you come into an AFL environment and then, you're going to get the best chance to get drafted if you can. And, if it happens mid-year, it happens mid-year. And it's a sort of more on us and as a club that you have that, develop that in your list that you can cover, one or two that get drafted. And, I think it's a good thing.
You're a man after my own heart, Anthony. I couldn't have said it better myself. I was stunned to read that from the Sandful. I thought, there's an old saying that everything after but is BS. And I think that pretty much sums up this statement from them. But we will move on. Speaking of Footscray, you guys are travelling beautifully in the VFL this year. You've won 5, you've only lost the 1, and you've had the draw as well. A 19-point win against North, and currently sitting second, as I said. How are you seeing the year so far under Daniel G and Syracusa?
G has been fantastic for the program. He's just brought a wealth of knowledge down from not only his playing career but his coaching at the senior level as well. So it gives he's a real driving force and very organised. And I think the players really love what he's offering. And it's great having G. And I think collectively as a group we've been really good. The players are responding well, and they're just trying every week to keep improving. So the season's been a good start so far, but it's a bit of a long year to go. But I'm sure if we keep it up, who knows.
I always like to keep an eye on how the Bendigo boys are doing at any club that they're at. Fergus Green got through his first game unscathed. How hard does he work to get himself back and ready and fit and involved for his first game of the season?
Yeah, Ferg's he's done a mountain of work, which has been great. So before he injured himself, he was really close to a senior call-up. So it's good for him to get back. A little bit of a setback, but knowing the bloke that he is, he's been doing the work, and hopefully he can get back to that standard and get himself back in the senior team. Would be a great effort for him.
Tell us about Nathan Drummond. Interesting story here, how he's tracking and what the year's been for him so far.
Drummer, he's come over from Richmond and obviously had a bit of an injury past there. But ever since he's come over, he's been exceptional. Again, he puts in a mountain of work, but his body sometimes lets him down a little bit with a few injuries, but it's been good for him to start getting some good consistency in the last few weeks and to tick off a few games in a row. I think it's been really good for his own confidence in his body, and hopefully from here on he can just really start developing and getting that speed back into his game, which is such a dynamic player. So we're hoping to keep him on the track and hopefully get some really good things out of Drummer in the second half of the year.
One that we're always fascinated in from, an AFL point of view, Anthony Barry, Footscray assistant coach, is Josh Shackey. Well, a lot of people surprised that he was dropped when he was during the year, thought that he'd started to really show some signs and just become a little bit more consistent in the way that he was going about it. He's been with you guys now for several weeks. How close do you think he is to a recall?
I think he wouldn't be far off at all. I think he knows the areas of his game that he needs to keep improving off, and I think in the weekend in really trying conditions, being windy and just bucketing rain, I thought he was exceptional with his contest and his attack on the footy. So I think if he keeps, doing those little things, and they're the things that he obviously Bevo requires from him, then he'll find himself back in the same team because his attributes are phenomenal. So just his work rate and his ethic. So if he can keep getting that contested part of his game well, I can see him doing some really good things in the senior side.
Anthony Barry, Dogs assistant coach at VFL level. We got a big game this week against Geelong at the Whitten Oval on Sunday afternoon. So hopefully it's a big day. Cats only won the 3 games this year, but you can never count them out. Have a good game this weekend. Good luck.
Thanks very much for your time, mate.
Anthony Barry, Footscray's VFL assistant coach and their runner as well. He was a premiership player too in 2016. You can get involved in the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Just visit vfl.com.au.
So there you go, Sam Hargraves and Anthony Barry on the SEN Hour. A new time and a new day for the SEN Hour this week on 11:16 SEN, I should say the VFL Hour. It'll be Monday at 9:30 this week due to the Hall of Fame. Tigers back out on the park here at Arden Street. It is North Melbourne 7-5-47 leading the Tigers 4-3-27. Adam Sarri-Coglu, Michael Peppicelli and Mark Stone on the coverage. We'll take a very quick break here and be back for the third term, where it's North Melbourne currently leading the Tigers by 20 points at Arden Street. We'll be back right after this.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 11:16 SEN.
But it's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it, doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL, live on SEN2 DAB+.
I'm a digital radio. To help explain why it's time to update your old radio, with me is my friend Digital TV.
Hi.
There you go.
Remember when us TVs went digital?
Everyone does. Get to the point.
Suddenly, you got lots more channels for free.
Yes.
Well, it's the same with digital radio.
When you buy a digital radio, you can get all your favourite stations plus up to 30 extra ones, playing all kinds of music, live sport and talk.
That's pretty great.
It's really great.
All you have to do is head into your nearest retailer
Or check out digitalradioplus.com.au
and upgrade to digital.
Your hard yakka Totally Workwear VFL club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coaches' huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Stuart Appleby has come from 7 strokes behind.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
Third quarter not far away here at Arden Street. North Melbourne leading Richmond by 20 points, 7-5-47. Richmond 4-3-27. Adam Sarri-Coglu, Michael Peppercelli, and our man boundary side. It's good to have him back on the 10-year anniversary of VFL Radio. Now it's called Hard Jacket Totally Workwear VFL Live. Here's Mark Stone.
It's had many evolutions of VFL, and footy gets better every year, and this year's no exception. I've seen some really good games during the year. Just a couple of North Melbourne updates. Both Tom Campbell, Tristan Zeri are both out on the ground. So they went off just before half-time with both had knocks to the head, but they're okay. Aaron Hall went off in the first quarter, come back in the second quarter, kicked a goal in that quarter. He's back on the ground. So a clean bill of health here, and looking forward to a good second half.
So Richmond still on a huddle. Tigers making their way back out into position. Stoney, what does Richmond have to do? Well, they're not out of it, but to get back into it. It's a low-scoring game. They're down by 20.
They haven't really played well. North Melbourne haven't allowed them to play well. They're just their running game going and get on the outside. North Melbourne will know that this quarter, in the first 5 minutes, we've got Ballard in the middle of the ground now, so he's played back, forward. Now he's on the ball. He's a key player in the engine room, and they'll want to get their game going and get the ball forward as quick as possible in the first 5 minutes.
Around the grounds in the AFL, there's an upset brewing at the MCG, Michael Peppercelli, and the other game at Giants Stadium. Well, that one's on track for the result we're expecting.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. Giants leading by 31 points in Sydney, but at the G, it's Freo leading by 14 points. So interesting times there, and interesting times here at Arden Street as well. The 1-6 North Melbourne Kangaroos are leading the undefeated Tigers by 20 points at half-time. Ready to go third term. Good to see Tom Campbell back out there. Left the ground with an injury concern late in that second quarter, but he's out there. So too is Hall, under a little bit of a cloud of his own, but Ballard wins the clearance for Richmond. Bouncing ball towards half forward. Big tackle late on Crocker, and Richmond able to effect the turnover. Here's Rioli. This would be the dream start for Richmond, but in uncharacteristic fashion, Dan Rioli has kicked it out of bounds on the full under no pressure from 30 metres out. So a let off for North Melbourne, but they've turned it over here on the free kick. And it's going to be another Tigers shot at goal. Just not careful enough on that occasion, the North Melbourne defence.
There is a bit of a breeze, boys, and it's probably a 1 to 2 goal breeze going to the Fogarty Street end, Adam, where Richmond are kicking this quarter.
Correct, Stoney?
I do listen.
So a chance for the first goal of the third term for the Tigers. It's a difficult kick, 48 metres out on a tight angle, and it's through for a goal. Can't quite get an eye on who that might have been. It was Nation Fact. So there you go. Dream start for the Richmond Footy Club. Margin back now to 14 points. They're 5-3-33. Trailing North 7-5-47.
And that was always going to happen. We knew Richmond hadn't played well in that first half, and they'd be looking to get that first goal. And at halftime, I'm sure Craig McCrory would have given a bit of a pep up and said, "Come on, boys, you need to lift our intensity." and their work around the ball, because they were getting smashed around the football. That's why North Melbourne had the lead.
Granite Grounds, third term underway at both Box Hill City Oval and Avalon Airport Oval. It's Box Hill by 3 points over Williamstown and Werribee by 24 over Casey. As we're back in the middle. Nice bounce put down there by Michael Curtis. Hall into the middle. Rioli off the ground. Sent the Tigers toward half forward. Weller had to duck underneath one tackler. Lost the ball. Coughed it up in the end. Hand pass comes back inboard. Holmes dispossessed. Rioli again involved. Ball spits out. Bounced away from Whitecross. Eventually it's picked up by Hayden. And that's holding the ball. Nice tackle by Igmalesi Smith. Free kicks coming back to centre wing. Turner wanted to play on through the corridor. Igmalesi Smith goes short into the corridor. That's okay for Callum Coleman-Jones. To another hyphenated name, Igmalesi Smith for Menadue. Worried out of it. 50-50 ball to win here. Ahern brought down by Graham, who is having a good day for the Tigers. Leading disposal getter on the ground with 18 today's Jack Graham. Umpire throws it up. Almost in the middle of Arden Street. Hayden. Hand pass was too hot there for Holmes. Out the back was Caulfield. Gets it back for the Tigers. Naish, the most recent goal kicker on the ground, sends it wide for Menadue. 2 bounces, then picks up. Had plenty of space on the Macaulay Road side of the ground. He goes towards half forward. Townsend presents well, takes the mark, too far out to score. Townsend inside 50. It's going to go all the way to the top of the square. Child dropped the mark. Hard ball to win here. A couple of Kangaroos over it. Interesting handball there by Watson. Missed it for Hall. Now it's Silvestro trying to come crashing through. Picked up by Weller. Kicked toward the pocket. Bouncing. Kept in play by Murphy. Under pressure. Hand pass over the top. Kangaroos looking to get out of danger. Hayden now has it. Hand pass out wide. Kick now toward the wing. 2-on-1 in favour of the Tigers. A couple of more yellow jumpers there as well. Hand pass came back to Caulfield. Over the top, Menadue. Takes the mark just outside 50, right on the boundary line.
You can feel Richmond lifting their intensity. They've just, in this first 3 minutes, they've really hunted the ball around the packs.
Menadue waited for something to present, and Townsend provided that option. Still the same angle to deal with, but he is inside 50.
So you can see the goal kick before in the last 2 minutes from that pocket there, right there it was.
Yep, that was Patrick Naish that time. So Jacob Townsend, 7 games now in the VFL this year. He's kicked 4 goals, 5. He's averaging 17.5 disposals per game. A goal here brings the margin to within 8 points. The kick's on the way, tried to curl it on the right boot, but it fell short on the near side. A minus score, 5-4-34 the Tigers. North Melbourne are 7-5-47. 5 minutes gone, third term. Kangaroos looking to hand Richmond its first loss of the season here in the VFL.
North Melbourne needs to hold strong here. The Tigers have started well in this third term. The long kick comes for Campbell, but he had a couple to contend with. He was pushed in the back. Coleman-Jones took the mark and wasn't too happy about it, but clear free kick, and Rovat finds a pocket of space against the boundary line. Goes corridor for Scott, and that's okay. This is where they've turned it over, though. Naish picks it up off the bounce. He could have gone all the way and had a shot. Instead, popped it over the top. They had time to fumble, and Weller will slam through the easiest of goals. Tigers back to within single digits.
That's the danger. See, Richmond, North Melbourne have to now challenge Richmond now with their ball movement, because Richmond really making the North Melbourne players work and working them over and turn the ball over. And there was about 2 or 3 players that could have kicked goals there in that little bit there, but still 7 points ahead.
Blake Brewer comes on for Tom Silvestro. We're back in the middle. Footy's back at Arden Street. The Kangaroos lead the Tigers by 7 points. Around the grounds, Box Hill by 5 over the Seagulls, and Werribee by 23 over Casey. Umpire Michael Curtis, another good bounce in the middle. Campbell did well to win it down to Hall. Collier Dawkins brought him down. Did well to get his kick away in the end there, did Hall. Then Campbell put up the knee to claim it inside 50. Holmes trying to work away around Egmalesi Smith. Tackled by Garner. And that forces a stoppage in the forward pocket. The Kangaroos need a steadier after conceding 2 early goals here early in the third term. As umpire's going to throw it up. Charles in there to contest the ruck against Tristan Sherry. Did get a hand on it there, did Sherry. Rovat all the way back to Wycross, inside 50. The left foot snap toward the top of the square. Sherry's down there for North Melbourne. The mark is taken. Garner, I think it is, in point blank range. Can kick that ever important steadier for the Kangaroos.
Tom Campbell, his work, he's so important to this side. Just his experience and his work around the ground, and just to push the ball forward, shot on goal from Garner.
This will be his first of the game. Slots it through. 8-5-53. That's the half ton up for North Melbourne. Richmond 6-4-40. 7.5 into the third term.
A really important goal against the Trent, really. Richmond had really come out breathing fire. But North Melbourne got that one back, which they needed at the 7-minute mark.
Much needed goal for North Melbourne. And it comes off the boot of Taylor Garner.
Just seeing the mark on the replay here for our viewers on VFL.com.au. Nice contested mark in among about 4 Tigers for Taylor Garner.
Didn't have too much of the ball in that first half, but his pressure was good and gets a goal for his efforts early in the third term. 8 minutes gone. North leading it by 13 points. From the restart. Campbell won it down, but it was roved by Coleman Jones. He bounces it towards half forward. It clean bowls about 6 players. Crocker eventually meets it before anyone else under intense pressure from Rioli. Still going is Rioli, burrowing it forward, and eventually gets it over the boundary line and forces a stoppage. Speaking of players who had quiet first halves, Rioli one of those, but we think he might be on something of a minute's restriction. Good forward pressure on that occasion to force the boundary throw in. Once again, Campbell the dominant presence in the air, but all Richmond at ground level, but impeded by a couple of North defenders, and the umpire will intervene. 53 plays 40 on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live as Hall clears. Garner did well to gather off his bootlaces, but they've overpossessed it here and turned it over. Weller shoots a handball over the top looking for Rioli. Had to jump together, but North Melbourne have turned it over. Here comes Manor, his snap, partially smothered. And out of bounds it goes once again.
Watch for the stoppage players here, that the depth palm of the ruckman to the small forward running through.
Both sides looking to get their setups in tip-top shape. As the hit out goes Richmond's way, it was Miller at the back, but straight to Kyron Hayden. Kick to the one-on-one with Beasley and Sherry, but Richmond had all the numbers at ground level, and inboard the mark is taken by Townsend.
Looking to send the Tigers inside 50. They're down by 13 points. Townsend, the switching ball's okay for Menadue. Has a look at the sticks, kicks on the way, and missing near side. 6-5-41 to 8-5-53. 10 gone third term. Good game of footy at Arden Street. A well-populated Arden Street. Nice crowd in, Stoney.
Yeah, really good crowd. Just on this grandstand side, really good crowd.
Free to enter if you are thinking about coming in and taking a look at the second half.
Come down and have a look. It's really good footy.
Connor Menadue takes the mark here for the Tigers. Too far out to score, having a good day. Here's Connor Menadue. Has to get around the man on the mark, which isn't too hard when it's a big ruckman in Tom Campbell. Takes 2 bounces, gets around the tackler, then the hand pass out wide. Ball set up toward the hot spot now. No mark was taken. It just fell over the top of Harris in the end. Naish gets a snap on goal. Goal for the Tigers. And it's a 1-kick game at Arden Street. 7-5-47 to 8-5-53. 11 gone, third term.
Yeah, that was young Patrick Naish, wasn't it?
Yes,
that goal.
Second goal of the quarter.
Those players or people that are listening or watching remember Chris Naish, and I think the young son of Patrick, and really good player. He's a nice player. I can see him making his playing more AFL footy into the future.
Absolutely. Hasn't made his debut at that level yet, Stoney, but averaging 25.6 disposals in the VFL this season.
Now has 7 goals to his name as well.
Yeah, good player. You can see he's got AFL attributes about him. He just moves really well, and just snap on goal, went 45 and got all the class. Looks good.
If he stays in the VFL side, Stoney, he's going to go a long way to perhaps collecting the JJ Liston Trophy the way he's going.
He'd be up there.
From the restart, all North Melbourne at the back here, and they'll clear through Ahern. Back to Murphy, and now Hayden. Needs to get rid of it before the tackle comes, and he does, and Hosey takes it on his chest.
It was well tracked. That you watched that ball when the ball was coming in. Hosey knew exactly where the ball was going, went to the spot where the ball was going to land, and he's a smart player, this young fella. I just think he's got a lot of upside for his future in the AFL or VFL footy.
Can you see him playing AFL footy perhaps later this year, Stoney?
I can actually. He's got the attributes of being an AFL player, no doubt. He's a bit wide on at the moment, but can jump.
He's gotten off to a good start in his VFL debut for North Melbourne as he comes in and misses to the near side. He's got 1 goal, 2 now for the afternoon. Lockie Hosey. North Melbourne moves to 8-6-54, leading the Tigers 7-5-47. 13 minutes gone, third term.
Menadue wants to go towards the outer side, runs out of the square, and then the kick toward half-back. It slipped through the hands of Chol. Morgan, hand pass to Durden. As the kick now comes inside 50.
Downfield.
Something's happened after the kick there.
Downfield.
Scott was dealt with.
My binoculars were following the Sherrin.
Taylor Garner. Shot on goal.
Yeah, so it's a downfield ball, and Garner can have a look at goal number 2 for this third term and restore a 2-digit lead for North Melbourne. It's currently 7 points. Only 1 win for the season for the Kangaroos. That came against the Cats. It was a 20-point win. They've since gone down to the Bulldogs by 19. Kicks on the way by Garner. Hits the post. Second time today that post has been hit by a Sherrin.
In the first half that would have went through.
8-7-55 to 7-5-47, halfway into the third.
Mark taken by Townsend inside defensive 50. Short kick for Collier Dawkins. The mark is paid. Pick 20 in the AFL draft last year was Riley Collier Dawkins. The Tigers are excited about what he can do, and he's strung together some pretty good VFL form this season. That kick, just a high one up the line. Richmond wins it at ground level. Coleman Jones roving on that occasion. Gives it off to Graham. Now Ballard. Next link in the chain for Richmond is Nelson. He can run to about 30 and kick it from a tight angle. Great stuff from the Tigers, and they're back to within a goal.
First goal, so just about every Tiger on the ground get around him. Except for Jacob Townsend, because he had to come off the ground.
So that's what quality sides.
16 of his teammates went around him.
That's what quality sides can do. Once they ball, so North Melbourne have really got to be defensive. Richmond start to get the ball on the outside now and really running through the corridor and linking up really well. This is what they did a couple of years ago when they won the flag, and they're a dangerous football team.
That same year, Stoney, the Richmond side got to the grand final and fell agonisingly short of victory. Famous day under the lid at Marble Stadium. It was Port Melbourne getting the flag in a remarkable game of football. 8-7 plays 8-5. A good one brewing here at Arden Street. Sherry and Chol in the ruck. A very nice finish there by Luke Nelson on debut. Umpire puts it down. Sherry jumped at it a little early. Chol lays a nice tackle on Ahern. Ball up. Really hot on the scene there was Sam Ferguson. Michael Pelt and Michael Curtis, the other 2 field umpires out there today. Beasley sends the Tigers into attack. Cunningham in battle with Manor. The bounce favoured Cunningham, but Brewer was quick to claim him. Graham, Turner smothered off his boot, trickles out of play.
Around the grounds, Adam. Box Hill leading Williamstown by 7 points. late in the third term, and Werribee with a 5-goal lead over the KC Demons.
Tigers looking good there, Stoney. I mean, the Werribee Tigers, they're having a good year. 4-3 at the moment.
Stands not over yet.
Mark Choco Williams, the new coach. As we see a free kick going North Melbourne's way. Sherry to take it. Brewer fell over. 50-metre penalty. Brewer tripped over himself and he was in the protected area. And Michael Pell said, bad luck, son. That's a 50-metre penalty. So Sherry, that's a long 50 as well. Very long 50. Sherry sends Kangaroos inside 50. Taylor couldn't take the mark. Bouncing ball here. Collier Dawkins claimed as soon as he got it by Ahern. Ball up. 40 out directly in front from goal here.
You've got to get a goal here, North Melbourne. Must get a goal.
Curtis Taylor's the man at full forward at the moment. Has Beasley on him. Umpire throws it up. Throw up favoured Chol. He fisted it away from defensive 50, but it was eventually claimed back by McLean. Now we're inside 50, over the head of Taylor. Silvestro, Egmalesi Smith. Kick to the broadcast side. Ballard fell over. Kick might have been too hot anyway. The turnover and picked off by Murphy. Inside 50, fisted away there from Bosey. Does it stay in play here for Rovat? No, boundary throw in. Lockie Hosey has one goal, missed one earlier in this quarter. He was involved in that contest. Umpire brings it in. It's North Melbourne by just 2 points, led by 7 at quarter time and 20 at half time. That ball's not coming out. Nav Waller at the bottom of the pack.
We're going to get a sensational last quarter, gents, looks like.
We had a good one last week, Stoney. It was a great comeback by Essendon, but they couldn't get the job done against Richmond in the Sir Doug Nicholls Cup. That was right before dream time at the G. All thrown up here. 45 out from goal for the Kangaroos. Ahern tried to soccer it off the ground, but it bounced straight back up. Now Leonardis sends North Melbourne deep once more, and that's found Hosey. Slide angle, and another chance to kick his second and restore an 8-point buffer for the Kangaroos.
He's a natural forward, this boy. He just knows where to run at the right space and right time. All good forwards in front. He found himself in front and shot on goal.
Approaching time on third term. As Hosey comes in, right foot ball. It's nice off the boot. He's got 2. North Melbourne have 9. 9-7-61 to 8-5-53 on Hard Jacket. Totally Workwear VFL Live.
Needed that one, really to steady a bit and just give him a bit of confidence. So Richmond were playing right over the top of the North Melbourne side in this third quarter, but that against the trend was a good goal.
Doing just enough to withstand the Tiger onslaught at the moment are the Kangaroos. They've kicked the 2 goals this quarter, while Richmond has piled on 4. And they're just doing enough to hold on to the lead. They lead it by 8 points at the moment. As Stoney said earlier, set for an excellent finish here in round 9 on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. As Campbell wins it down over Chol, but Chol followed up, couldn't quite handle it cleanly. Rioli was pushed off his kick legally. Now Ahern just ripped it from Rioli, but he's turned it over in the middle of the ground. Chol overran it. Now a chance for Hall, battling against 3 Tigers and did it beautifully. Leonardis tapped on by Robinson. Here comes Scott. He runs to 50, looking for the one-on-one in the goal square. Could be a free kick. None forthcoming. And the locals aren't too happy about it. Taylor, I think it was, in the one-on-one. Had good body position, might have been dragged down. Perhaps, the umpire says, went down a little bit too easily, but anyhow, the ball comes back into play. Richmond muscling it forward before Cameron can take, Turner, I should say, able to get it out, but it's coming straight back. Leonardis' left foot ball was hurried. Now a chance for Menadue, and Richmond suddenly on the back foot as Naish takes the mark and gets the handball over the top to Turner. Long high ball towards half forward. Miller did well at the back to get it to ground, but Morrison running onto it. Miller, the only person there on the receiving end of the handball, and eventually Hall comes in to make it a 50-50 ball. And over the boundary line it goes. 21 and a half minutes gone. Kangaroos lead it by 8 points.
Throw-in taking place right in front of the scoreboard here at Arden Street.
Good scoreboard too. Great scoreboard.
Might go around the grounds in the AFL in a moment. Looks like the Pies are recovering against the Dockers. And GWS in control against the Gold Coast Suns as it's a North Melbourne ball here inside defensive 50. Last to play on there was Watson. Goes toward the outer side. It comes off hands. Ahern gets another touch. Up towards half forward. Hosey. Not quite a mark in the end, but did well to get the hand pass out. Rovat can run into the open goal. 3 bounces for Rovat. Kicks it. North by 14 points. 10-7-67 to 8-5-53. Here's Mark Stone.
Young Hosey again had instrumental in that goal and really good play. Smart play. Smart play. I like the look of that boy.
So a couple of steadies for the Kangaroos after the Tigers kicked 2 in a row in the middle of the quarter. The margin's 14 points. It was 20 at half-time.
Looks like the Kangaroos have found themselves a player in Lockie Hosey. Around the grounds in the AFL, Collingwood leading by 8 points early in the final term at the MCG, and GWS doing it comfortably over the Suns. They lead it by 37 points. Here at Arden Street, we have a thriller on our hands. 23 minutes into the third term. Kangaroos lead at 67-53, doing just enough to keep the Tigers at bay as Campbell taps it beautifully into the path of Robinson coming off the wing, but had a bit of a fumble, and that allowed the Richmond Cavalry to come in. Campbell doing it all on his own at ground level. Did he get a clean handball away? No. Richmond free kick in the middle of the ground. And it's going to be Nelson, in fact Fletcher, to take the free. One of their best players last week against the Bombers. Inside forward 50 he goes. Kangaroos had the numbers. Mackay just shovels it out of there. Set Garner a task, but he was up to it. Took on Scholl and got around him, and then kicked it towards the middle of the ground. Holmes is paid the free kick, but it looked like he might have taken it anyway. Stoney, as he said, wants to go immediately. That's because he has Rovat in a dangerous spot, but Credlin did well to come across and thump it over the line, but it's been paid deliberate. So North Melbourne ball just forward of the wing. Campbell pushing forward to provide the tall target. That's where he goes. He goes up. Might have been bodied out of it nicely by the Richmond defence. Coleman Jones roving. Needs to be quick and is. Ballard gets around an opponent in Cunningham nicely. Now a chance for the Tigers. Graham's in some space. He can get it and go. Mackay needs to impact this contest, and he does it beautifully. And North Melbourne are able to get out of danger. Mackay again. Robinson. Handball to Holmes. He fell over. Needs to be good here. Ball up might be a good result for both teams, and that's what we'll get.
If you're watching us on VFL.com.au, probably we're seeing a replay of it now with Jack Graham colliding with Ben Mackay. He is up on his feet.
He's struggling a bit too. He's coming off, Adam.
He has been winded, at the very least. Play restarts on centre wing. Campbell hand pass out to Morgan. 2-on-1 here in favour of the Tigers. Beasley might have been pushed out of it by Sherry. Ground level ball. Rovat's having a good 5 minutes. Hand pass out to Taylor. The chip in board for Hosey.
There he is.
The Kangaroos are on today. If Hosey kicks this, the half-time margin of 20 points is restored. This will be his third shot from this range.
See the speed to get to the ball in the front spot. And he's in the right spot, protected the ball.
Better angle than his last shot. Hosey, right foot ball, bank it. 20-point lead for the Kangaroos, 11-7-73 to 8-5-53. We're nearly at the three-quarter time siren.
You can go back to Ben Mackay and thank him for that, because his defensive effort in that last sort of 30 seconds to get the ball half the contest, that's why that goal got kicked then.
I'm just seeing it on replay now on VFL.com.au, and a lovely little deft pass by Curtis Taylor to get it to Hosey. Kangaroos are playing some wonderful footy here today. They have been one of the big improvers of the last month or so in the hard jacket, totally workwear VFL. And they are maybe on their way to handing Richmond its first loss of the season.
Makes you wonder what might have happened earlier in the season with this North Melbourne Footy Club.
This is nothing like what we saw against Essendon, Michael Peppercelli.
They look like a completely different side, despite the fact there are plenty of the same players out there this afternoon. Just goes to show what a couple of months can do in footy. The Tigers need to respond. Collier Dawkins soccers it forward, but it's all Kangaroos. Morgan had it, then lost it for a moment, and now Ahern in there, tries to get around the tackler. He's taken down, and the holding the ball free kick is paid. Advantage going Richmond's way, and a chance for another goal. Manor misses. In fact, it was Nash. Margin back to 19 points.
Kick in to be taken by Morrison, runs out of the square, goes towards the outer side, looking for Campbell. Coleman Jones was hot on him. Campbell did well to win it. Morgan, hand pass further back, that's okay. Now to chip in board for Hayden. Kick was just a little low. Hayden did well to gather on a half volley, then he coughs up the handball. Townsend gets it back inside 50, and a mark is taken by Maverick Weller.
Good play by young Townsend then, and just experienced and lowered his eyes and found his teammate.
So now it's the Tigers that need a steadier. Had a very good start to this third term, did Richmond. Down by 20 at the break. Now Maverick Weller, who did kick a goal earlier in the quarter. Looking for number 4 of the season here in the VFL. Directly in front, 45 metres, kicks on the way, didn't like it off the boot, he hooked it. And a minor score for Richmond, 8-7-55 to 11-7-73. That's an even 3-goal margin as we're edging closer to three-quarter time, and that's going to be a nice little pass for Daniel Robinson.
Spent 6 years at the Sydney Swans, did Daniel Robinson. Takes that mark at just on defensive 50. Pops it high up the line. Garner there. Had a big piece of it. Didn't complete the mark though. Followed up his work at ground level. Sherry quick hands. Intercepted though by Beasley. Now Ballard. He's decked. In fact, it was Graham holding the ball. Great tackle, Nash Holmes. That's what he's in the side to do.
Tough play, Nash Holmes.
He certainly is. Always at the top of the tackle numbers every week for the North Melbourne Footy Club. His kick almost intercepted. 3 Richmond players might have spoiled each other in the end. Hayden did well to get it away. Now Garner at right half forward. Can pop it over the top for Taylor. But doing well to come across is Caulfield. McLean was the target, in fact. Caulfield did a great job to get there.
That's a very easy mistake to make. O'Connor made it to Michael Peppercelli. They look very similar to Curtis Taylor and the 23rd man for the Tigers in Lockie McLean. Different coloured boots. Only way to differentiate them.
Ball back into play. Garner's really lifted in this third term. Handball intercepted by Beasley. Great smother though by Bailey Scott to lock it inside offensive 50. 73 plays 55 at Arden Street Oval. We hope you're enjoying the coverage wherever you may be watching us on VFL.com.au or listening via SEN2. We're certainly enjoying calling it for you. As Egmalesi Smith forges a path through the congestion, gives it off to Graham. Mark taken on the second bite by Silvestro.
Jack Graham seems to have recovered from that heavy knock earlier in the quarter against Ben Mackay.
Yeah, I think you picked it. I think it was the winded.
Silvestro. Wasn't a very advantageous ball towards centre wing for Richmond, and the relieving mark was taken.
Got Paul Ahern out in the middle of the ground and get it over there, but he hasn't seen him.
Durden sends the Kangaroos up towards half forward. Campbell's got 3 Tigers to deal with. It came to ground level. Taylor again involved with his doppelganger in Lockie McLean. Ball up right on 50. Is there a late goal in this one? 3-goal ball game in favour of the Kangaroos. They've led it from the outset. Umpire throws it up. Sherry toward the boundary line with the tap. Staying in play, Egmalesi Smith worried out of it by Nash Holmes. It spills out of play.
Wouldn't be much time left, gentlemen.
Around the grounds, boys. Box Hill leading by 13 points over Williamstown. 2 minutes gone in the final term at Box Hill City Oval. And over at Avalon, Werribee still doing it comfortably over Casey by 30 points.
So a throw in Some more games coming up tomorrow in the VFL. That was your 3/4 time siren. So the score here is 11-7-73 North Melbourne, Richmond 8-7-55. Those games coming up tomorrow. The TV game is at a very familiar place for you and I, Michael Peppercelli. Windsor Hill, it is Essendon taking on the Northern Blues, and then at 12:30 it is Coburg taking on Sandringham at Piranha Park. Port Melbourne hosting Collingwood at Adcon Stadium, and Footscray will take on Geelong at the VU Whitten Oval. So a very busy day of hardjacker, totally workwear VFL action. We'll take our final break here from Arden Street. A big final term coming up. It's North Melbourne by 18 points over the Tigers, 11-7-73. Richmond 8-7-55 on hardjacker, totally workwear VFL Live, back right after this short break.
Your Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Club needs you to show your support. Buying a VFL Club membership helps support your local team and provides great discounts and match access. The VFL gives you the chance to get in the coach's huddle and enjoy kick-to-kick on the field, whilst kids under 15 get in free. Get involved in the VFL this season. Head to vfl.com.au/membership to find out what membership offers are available at your club in 2019.
I'm a digital radio.
And I'm a digital TV. Now, you may remember when TV went digital.
Yes, and you got a lot more channels and a better picture.
Well, buying a digital radio is the same.
Exactly. I've got up to 30 extra radio stations, plus all your old faves, and I sound amazing.
Yeah, but I look amazing.
Yeah, but this is a radio ad, so no one can see you.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to hear this station like you have never heard it before,
buy a digital radio.
Head into your nearest retailer and upgrade to digital.
For club interviews and all the news from the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL and Swiss Wellness VFL Women's, don't miss the VFL Hour during the Sporting Capital with Jack Heverin, Tuesdays from 9 p.m. on 1116 SEN.
But it's your job. You'll be fine.
Mate, just because everybody seems like they're doing it doesn't actually mean that they are doing it.
Help your kids understand that betting and sport don't have to go together.
The ads don't always tell you the risks, yeah?
Before you have the talk, check lovethegame.vic.gov.au. Authorised by VRGF Melbourne.
Don't miss a moment of the Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL. Find SEN2 on your digital radio today for live coverage of the match of the round. The Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL, live on SEN2 DAB+.
Love your sport? Then you'll love SEN.
Looks to be the last game of the first set. Almagro leading 5-3.
And you'll find it on digital radio. Simply scroll to SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Streaming live through VFL.com.au. This is VFL Live.
We are at Arden Street, a good game of round 9 hardjacker, totally workwear, VFL footy. North Melbourne 11-7-73 lead Richmond by 18 points, 8-7-55. I'm Adam Sarikoglu alongside Michael Peppercelli. Mark Stone is our man boundary side. He is currently, I suspect, in the Richmond huddle. We'll try and get Craig McRae coming out of that. Good game of footy here around the grounds. It's Box Hill by 19 over Williamstown. The team we'll see next week here on VFL Live. 8-11-59 Box Hill leading Williamstown 6-4-40 in Werribee early in the last term. So our game's a little behind both of those, Michael, because both those games are early in the last. 9-8-62 Werribee leading Casey 4-8-32. Thanks to the VFL app, we've got all the stats provided by Champion Data. Michael, you've got some of those numbers there.
I certainly do, Adam, and they do paint an interesting picture because the Tigers have had more inside 50s despite losing the disposal and mark count, so that means North Melbourne's controlling the footy pretty well, but the Tigers 42 inside 50s for just 15 scoring shots, woefully inefficient going inside. Probably rectified it a little bit in that third term. They were able to put the 4 goals for on the board, but the Kangaroos doing a better job in that department. 18 scoring shots, I should say, from 34 inside 50s. So a tick over 50% in terms of forward 50 efficiency. Having a look at the individual players, Paul Ahern He is the leading disposal winner on the ground with 21 disposals. He's tied with Jack Graham, so a couple of players from both teams picking up big numbers. Also for the Kangaroos, Kyron Hayden has 20, and Tom Campbell and Alex Morgan both have 16 disposals apiece. Having a look at the Richmond side of the equation, Connor Menadue has had a good game. He has 18 disposals, and Paddy Nation, Mav Weller have 17 each, Adam.
So Craig McRae and David Loader both giving their final three-quarter time addresses here. We are going to hear from Craig McRae out of the Richmond huddle. I think I can see Stoney just loitering around that huddle there somewhere. So we'll hear from Mark Stone and the Richmond coach shortly. Around the grounds in the AFL, Michael Peppercelli, 2 games in play. One's at Giant Stadium, one is at the MCG.
Certainly is, Adam, and the close one is not too far away from here at the G. The Pies have an 8-point lead over the Dockers. About 19 minutes gone in the final term there. And up in Sydney, the Giants with a 57-point lead over the Suns.
So we're just waiting now for the 2 huddles to disperse here. Michael, just your thoughts on what we've seen so far? North Melbourne are putting together some unbelievable football here today. We had a look at some of the stats, but just the eyeball test. Curtis Taylor's having a great day today. Rovat's been very present up forward. Taylor Garner's providing a presence. A wonderful debut so far from Lockie Hosey as well. Hold your thoughts there. We'll go to Stoney.
Craig, the boys just haven't seemed to be able to get out of third gear today. Just whether North have played really good footy at their intensity, and you guys just haven't been able to get there.
Yeah, well, it's probably a good example of probably how we play the game at the moment. I thought that quarter we looked like we had more energy in the game. And, for major parts of it, we looked like the Richmond what we want to be. Our backlines didn't let us down with a few contests and things like that. But on the whole, I thought the quarter was far more on their terms, which is what we want.
What did you say to them at three-quarter time there about trying to win the game out?
Yeah, well, just trust we've got heaps of time. Like, there's still 28, 30 minutes to go. We'll play our system. We can kick 3 goals without them scoring. We've got to play our way. So look forward for more contested ball, because that's going to be important.
Thanks a lot.
If you could hear that, he was speaking very softly there. Stoney, just as spectators make their way off.
He just said that there's still a lot of time. There's 25 minutes to go. We can kick 3 goals without North Melbourne touching the ball. He liked the analogy of having got out of third gear. He said obviously North Melbourne played good footy. He said our boys just need to lift the intensity and create space. He said we played some good footy in that third quarter, but North Melbourne come back and obviously kick those late goals. So he still believes if they play to their best, they can win the game.
Michael, quickly, just on North Melbourne's overall improvement, we did see them in round 3, and that's worlds apart from what we've seen so far today.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. I guess much like the Kangaroos have done at AFL level, they look like a completely different side out there. Really impressive so far this afternoon. The kind of game I guess we were hoping to see from the Kangaroos, but perhaps not quite expecting. But they have 30 more minutes to try and hold off this Richmond side and hand them their first loss of the season, and the final term gets underway with Campbell tracking down his own hit out and sending it long inside 50, but Caulfield there for Richmond, able to take the intercept mark in his milestone game, brings it out wide and is able to find a teammate still inside defensive 50. Kick partially smothered though, kicked into the man on the mark. Now a chance for North Melbourne. Garner gathers, snaps, and goals. Perfect start for North Melbourne. Garner has caught fire in this second half.
That's what he can do, Taylor Garner. He doesn't even much look at the goals, and that's a great goal, great snap, and that might even make the highlight reel, that one. But a good start for the Roos. That's what the start Richmond didn't want in this last quarter.
It's a game-high 24-point lead now for North Melbourne.
You can just see on the replay if you're watching us on VFL.com.au, Taylor Garner affected the smother, gathered his own crumb, and then slammed it through blindly almost. That's the kind of talent level this player has. Hasn't had much of a run at it due to injury, but having an impact this afternoon.
So what have the Tigers got here? They were pushed all the way by the Bombers last week at the Swinburne Centre. And they've got another game on their hands here. Have they got the legs to get themselves back into it? Rioli definitely does. Did well to get it to Ballard, and then it's Townsend who sends the Tigers inside 50. Blake Brewer. Well, some Tigers fans thought he took the mark. Silvestro, hand pass in hope. Brewer with the tap. Now it's in the hands of Turner. Fumbled initially. The snap was smothered off the boot. Well done, Mackay. In the pocket here. Still a chance. Miller fumbled. It goes out of play. Boundary throw in. They are inside 50 Richmond, and they must get 6 points from this entry.
It's like, I think Craig mentioned it in that little speech about the energy levels of the Richmond players. Just got to try and lift their energy more and more and more. Take some leadership from some of the players.
Mark Stone, boundary side on his 2019 debut here on VFL Live. It's great to have him back as Townsend goes towards the pocket. No mark taken. Graham finds a way through. Kick on the way. And the third poster of the day. And all three of them have hit the same goalpost. 8-8-56 Richmond, North Melbourne 12-7, 79. It's a 23-point ball game. Early stages, final term.
First score of the afternoon for Graham. Kicked a couple of goals last week and took a big pack mark in the goal square as well. Not something we see too often from him, but hasn't had the same type of impact this afternoon. As the kick in is long and high. Campbell the target. North had numbers at the back, but Sherry was the one who ended up with it, and your big lumbering ruckman's probably not the one you want at ground level to be gathering.
Did well, the big boy.
Did well not to fumble at least and force the stoppage a long way from his defensive goal, so the Kangaroos can reset, but it's all Richmond at the stoppage. Townsend's kick is on the roof.
Come on, boys.
That's landed right above us, Stoney.
You could have put your hand out then.
That almost came into the window, so waiting for a footy to make its way down to Paul Ahern. Eventually, the ball does come to Ahern, and he'll take the free. Lead comes from Garner. He's playing like a man possessed at the moment. He takes the mark, spots Hosey at half forward. He needs to dive to get there, and he does. Ooh. Too far out to score, you would think, Lockie Hosey. He'll kick from about 55 on a tight angle. Has Morgan calling for it short, instead goes to the hot spot. Campbell and Sherry are there. Sherry had hands to it. Ballard fighting the fight for Richmond. Campbell goes in and is wrapped up. Stoppage at the top of the goal square for the Kangaroos. They lead it by 23 points. 79 plays 56. 4.5 minutes into this final term. The ball spills out to Robinson. Right foot snap. That's another one for the Kangaroos. And the margin is out to 29 points. 13-7-85 plays 8-8-56.
When you're hot, you're hot.
Kangaroos next week have Williamstown at Downer Oval. We'll be calling that one on VFL Live, vfl.com.au and SEN2, whichever platforms you're taking us in on right now. We'll be back with that game next week. Then they go to Skybus Stadium to take on the Dolphins, and then a bye after that for Richmond. Home games coming up against both Geelong at Coburg. I think the one at Coburg, though, is at Beaconsfield, and they've got a bye after that.
Well, if they maintain this form, the Kangaroos, they can beat anyone and they can get on a run and perhaps make a late charge at finals. It's a long way back from 1-6, but you never know.
Chol and Campbell in the middle. Bounce did favour Chol. Campbell, bouncing ball, picks it up. Chol claims him straight away. Rioli helped out with the tackle. Hand pass comes out. Now it's Graham. Hand pass off and a very high ball. It's going to land in the middle of Arden Street. Bouncing ball here on all fours. Trying to extract it. There was Nelson. Hall with the tackle. Maybe Ballard didn't have it. He's dragged it in.
He's gone.
Umpire did get a good view of it, and it is holding the ball. Free kick, North Melbourne. They've got one hand on the 4 points here today to Kangaroos. He goes wide. Mark taken, Robinson. Most recent goal kicker in the game. Sends it inside 50. Turner gets it back for the Tigers. Hand pass to Naish. Picks up the bouncing ball, does Naish. Kick to the wing. No mark was taken there by Watson. Kangaroos have numbers across half back, and They'll utilise that, in fact, go backwards all the way back to Ryan Morrison. He'll complete the switch to this broadcast side of the ground. It's in the hands of Crocker. Left half back for North Melbourne. Kick to centre wing. Fair few Tigers there. Caulfield goes up, brings it down. Centre wing ball goes toward the corridor. Chol. Much quieter day than he had last week, maybe a Chol. Now Turner, right half forward. There is a man in the corridor, spots him up. I think that's Naish. Standing start from 50. Kicks on the way, fisted through by Cunningham, and a minor score for the Tigers, 8-9-57. North Melbourne 13-7-85. 7 gone, final term. It looks like North Melbourne might be on their way to win number 2 for the season here in the VFL, and they will get the double if they do so after the AFL side got a nice win last night against the Tigers.
Well, they deserve it. They've been the better team so far this afternoon, but you just get the feeling it's not beyond Richmond. If they can get a couple in the next 5 or 10 minutes, as Turner has a chance at left half forward to send them into attack. Pops it up for Coleman Jones, a fly! Couldn't bring it down, roved it at ground level. It all depends on the bounce. And it just goes the wrong side of the post.
That was a fair leap.
It certainly was. He just hung there for a second or two, but net result is a minor score. Tigers trail by 27 points as Crocker takes the kick in for North Melbourne. Sends it long, but it's coming straight back. Mark taken by Fletcher. Too far out to score. Short lead offered by Weller, but he's going to go longer. Coleman Jones again will fly from 3 deep. Got hands to it, but it was all North Melbourne at ground level. Sherry needs to be quick, and was, but just a little bit behind Robinson, and now he goes in and applies the tackle. It's going to be a ball up 55 metres out from the Richmond goal.
Need the next one, the Tigers, if they're any chance to maintain their unbeaten run here in the VFL. Jack Graham's up to 23 disposals. Paul Ahern has 22. That's North Melbourne's leading goal kicker. There's a shot on the way here, but it's a wayward kick. That was the 23rd man, Chad Harris, out of bounds on the full. Mackay. Short ball. I don't know if he saw Gruel there. The kick was intended for Scott. Now to kick towards the wing. No mark taken by Hosey. Credlin brought down by Hosey. Holding the ball, free kick, North Melbourne. Making a very good impression on debut here for the Kangaroos is Lockie Hosey. Right in front of us, he kicks towards half forward looking for Campbell. Nice mark. It's stuck in the mitts up against Credlin. Gets on with it. Sends North Melbourne inside 50. We've got a one-on-one. Only one arm to work with there. No mark taken now. Taylor. Snap on goal. Give the win to the Kangaroos.
You've called it.
I'm calling it. That's the sealer for mine. 14-7-91 to 8-10-58. 9.5 into the final term. And the margin's a game high, 33 points for North Melbourne.
Well, Adam, it's 9 minutes 50 into the last quarter, and he's gone the early crow.
Yep.
But, a good result.
I'm feeling good about it too, Stoney.
Yeah, that's good. Just, it's they've played some good footy today. It's obviously they've been down all year, but they have one win. But today they've played inspired football, and just Richmond can't get their game going. We've seen in about 10 minutes in the third quarter where Richmond started to get a bit of a roll, but North Melbourne have played some good footy today.
He's only had 6 disposals. I'm surprised by that, Curtis Taylor. 2 goals. He's had a pretty good day at the office.
He's not a
3 marks as well.
He's not a big disposal player, is he? He's more of an impact player, and you've certainly seen that this afternoon. A couple of goals from 6 disposals. Puts on good pressure as well as we get a secondary stoppage in the middle of the ground. Sherry and Coleman Jones go at it. Coleman Jones got first hands to it. Garner went in and laid a strong bump, and now Ahern picked out the lone Tiger in amongst a set of 3 Kangaroos. But they've turned it over. Morgan gives it off to Murphy on the wrong side for him. Rovat had to stand under it and did well. He was crunched in the process. Ahern follows up and is gang tackled by a couple of Tigers. Umpire crosses his arms. 33-point margin, 11 minutes into the final term. North Melbourne doing an absolute number on the Tigers, And not too many can say they predicted this as Garner sends him inside forward 50 again. Rovat read it well but couldn't bring it in. Beasley trying to ram his way through a couple of North Melbourne players. Did so rather effectively. Went back in and kicked it out. But it's all North Melbourne. Watson can wait for the bounce. Gives a handball off to McLean, the 23rd man. Decided not to gather. Wise decision because Ahern came in, gave it off to Hall, and now Scott has it inside forward 50.
Did you see what just happened? And Aaron Hall just knew exactly where the ball was going to be. The ability to read the play from that player is incredible. That's why the player's got a shot on goal. Amazing football.
Every time you talk him up, Stoney, he comes off.
Yeah, I know. He's obviously a bit sore.
Almost stunning he's playing VFL footy in a lot of ways. He's a very good player, Aaron Hall. And this man, Bailey Scott, has had a pretty good first season on the North Melbourne AFL list as well. But that kick, out of bounds on the full, hooked it, trying to gain the extra distance. No change to the score. It's 91-58.
This North Melbourne streak remains at 6 goals in a row. As the kick comes down the line, that's a nice mark there taken by Watson. Off the side of the boot as the kick comes inside 50. Fist on the ball there by Campbell. Picked out a Tiger. The kick over the top finds Rioli. That Tiger was Chad Harris. Rioli chips over the top for Coleman Jones. Tried to take a specky about 5 minutes ago. I know you were barracking for it, Michael. Couldn't quite stick it in the midst in the end.
Always good to see good jumps and good leaps, isn't it?
Yeah, we've seen a few this year here on VFL Live as the kick goes looking for Coates. No mark taken. Mackay. Hand pass, attempted to hand pass back to the voice. Eventually it ends up with Morgan. Hand pass comes in board. Ahern went all the way back to Murphy. That was an interesting ball for Durden. Just pressured out of it there by Nelson. Ball's up for grabs just on the top of 50 for the Tigers. Coates to Townsend.
Goal.
Gets a look at goal. Shanked the kick, Stoney. Shanked it badly and it just snuck in for one. 8-11-59 playing 14-7-91.
Any other day, he probably would have kicked that one.
Mark Stone put the moz on him as North clears. Campbell is the flyer. Couldn't bring it in from 3 deep. Ballard got his way around a couple of North defenders. And now inside 50, the Tigers go off the boot of Fletcher. And the mark is taken 25 metres out directly in front by Nelson.
He has to kick the goal. That is an understatement, but he has to kick a goal.
Kicked a beauty in the third term when he got on the end of some excellent end-to-end play. This one, a lot easier, but it comes via the set shot. And he kicks the goal. Margin back to 26 points, 14 and a half minutes gone, final term. Still probably 12 to 15 minutes left, so if the Tigers can get on a run, you never know. But North Melbourne in full control at the moment, leading by 26 points.
That ends a 6-goal run that North Melbourne was on since halfway through the third term.
Around the grounds, Werribee up by 28 points over the KC Demons, and Box Hill leading Williamstown by 13 points late in that one.
We'll see the Seagulls next week here, or not here, but against the Kangaroos at Downer Oval. Point Jellybrand. No doubt it's going to be a fine day for boundary riding, Mark Stone.
I look forward to it. Hope it's a sunny day down at downtown Williamstown.
You're hoping so, definitely. Umpire puts it down back in the middle. Chol roved his own tap because it bounced into his lap. Only had one arm to deal with. He was chicken-winged and holding the ball. Free kick to go Campbell's way. No advantage for Kyron Hayden. The ball's coming back to the middle of the ground. Maybe a child now pleading his case with Michael Pelt.
You'd have to. Tom Campbell have to be the most influential person around, wouldn't he? He's dominant.
Suspect you might be going his way for the post-game interview, Stoney, on air today on SEN2 and VFL.com.au until 4:45. So we'll have maybe about a 10-15 minute post-game show. We'll see. That'll include a post-game interview as we see Garner go into the deck inside 50 for the Kangaroos. 26-point ball game in favour of the Roos. They led by 7 at quarter time, 20 at half time and 18 at 3/4 time. Conceded the first goal of the game and haven't really looked back since. Egg Smith, free kick advantage paid. Chips over the top. And The mark is taken by Fletcher. Back to Egmilesi Smith. Centre wing ball. That was a well-weighted pass. Measured ball for Silvestro. It was a very good kick, Mark Stone.
It was a good kick. A very good kick.
Helicopter ball. It's going to land right in front of Jacob Ballard. He had a couple of options potentially to go to, but he likes himself at the distance.
He actually could kick this. Oh no, he's handballed it.
Naish, he's the man that's going to unload from outside the arc. The kick's on the way. It's going to fall across the face and gets fisted through for a minor score by Durden. So 9-12, 66 Richmond, North Melbourne, 14-7, 91, 17 gone, final term. Kangaroos looking for just their second win of the year. Tigers, well, they're undefeated for now.
Campbell, the target once again, has 3 Tigers to contend with. Did well to get it to ground. Taylor there, got a handball out now. Hall just a little bit behind Hayden, and that allows Richmond to go inside forward 50 once again. Nelson for goal number 3. Misses. In fact, it was Manor. Minus score for the Tigers. Margin back to 24 points. 9-13, 67. Playing 14-7, 91. Coming into this game, the Kangaroos only scoring 66 points per game on average. They've smashed that this afternoon, up at 91 points. As Credlin, kick partially smothered by Taylor. Ahern fumbled, set upon by Ballard. And a couple of afters there.
Nash Holmes, unsurprisingly involved.
We'll get a ball up, right half forward for the Tigers. Scholl won it down into the path of Ballard. Had his run impeded though, and Hayden tackled by a couple of Tigers. Menadue and Graham in there. We'll get another stoppage.
Hey Stoney, we like our names here on VFL Live. Nash Holmes can have his own crime show, I reckon. It's a great name, isn't it?
It is a good name. If I was a recruit, I'd be recruiting that bloke. I reckon he's got a great name.
Fletcher over the top to Ballard. Here comes Menadue, had a slight fumble, had time to gather, gives it off to Silvestro. Now Rioli from the pocket. He likes these situations.
Not sure about the handball from Silvestro, though.
Misses to the near side. Chance at a highlight, goes begging for Dan Rioli. He's been quiet today, but he's had a lot of mates with him. 23 points, the North Melbourne lead.
Just very little room for error once Rioli finally received that ball from Silvestro, and the angle did prove too difficult in the end as North Melbourne come to this near side of the ground. Campbell again, misread it in flight potentially. Sherry gets his handball off to Ahern. Mackay, Taylor, fumbled in the air, out of play. Boundary throw in.
Richmond are really, really pushing hard now. You can see the pressure they're putting around the ball carrier there. They know they get a goal there, they've got a sniff.
So around the grounds, it's almost finished at Avalon Airport Oval. Werribee leading Casey by 29 points. And it's a full-time score with Box Hill beating Williamstown by 20. Holmes takes a nice mark on centre wing. Maybe not quite centre wing, just behind true centre wing. Chips over the top for Rovat. 2 goals in this second half for Nathan Rovat. His first goals of the year here in the VFL, goes backward for Ahern. So now some junk time footy for the Kangaroos. We are into time on. Ahern back to Rovat. And they're slowing things right down now. It's tempo footy at the moment for the Kangaroos. We go inside 50, just over the head there of Garner. And Curtis Taylor sees it out of play after being forced out by Beasley. Ben Miller comes off. Callum Coleman-Jones comes on. Also coming on for North Melbourne is Morrison. Leonardis wrapped up, not going anywhere. This is a very good win coming up for North Melbourne today.
I'd like them to get another goal, Adam.
Got a win in round 6 against Geelong by 20 points. Holding the ball here, and a shot on goal is coming up for Curtis Taylor. His pressure acts have been good today. We've now seen him with 2 pretty good smothers in front of us. Stoney, he's won a free kick here. And if he kicks a goal, it'll be his third of the game.
Yeah, he'd just like to top it off now with another goal, wouldn't he? Number 31, worn by famous Corey McKernan at North Melbourne many years ago. For old listeners, very old.
Taylor. Not sure my co-commentator was born.
He probably wasn't.
Taylor comes in, not a hard shot, and he did make it look easy in the end. 15-7, 97, playing 9-14, 68. Win number 2 coming up for North Melbourne. And it's been a wonderful weekend for them against the Tigers.
Good for the comp too, I reckon, that North Melbourne can beat a top of the side Richmond side, who are a very classy side, and just have had a bad weekend, but North Melbourne had a great weekend, really.
Michael, we called a pretty taxing game last week at the Swinburne Centre, and I wonder if all of that's just starting to catch up with the Tigers a little bit. They haven't had a bye since round 3 of Richmond, so maybe just not coming in as fresh perhaps as North Melbourne today.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. They did just sneak over the line last week, and they also had a pretty tough game against Box Hill the week before that as well. So a couple of games decided by single-figure margins. So I guess you could say a lapse in form was coming, but you probably wouldn't have expected it to be this game against the 14th placed North Melbourne, but that's exactly what's happened here at Arden Street Oval.
By the way, they have got 15 AFL listed players out on the ground today to Kangaroos. Richmond only have 12.
They certainly do.
So that might be a factor as well.
There are a lot of young players, the Kangaroos boys, they're listed players. They're all young players.
That is true. A fair bit of experience out there for Richmond, including a few premiership players from a couple of years ago as well, as the umpire spotted a free for North Melbourne.
Townsend and Holmes just saying hello.
It'll be Holmes' ball, just short of the centre circles. 23 and a half minutes gone, final term. Kangaroos lead it by 29 points. High ball inside forward 50. Leonardus crumbs at the back. He can try from the impossible angle. It's coming back. It's online. Did the touch get there in time? No, says the goal umpire. Great finish from Tyrone Leonardus. And it's party time now at Arden Street Oval. The margin out to 35 points as the Kangaroos cross the ton.
9th goal kicker now for the day for the Kangaroos is Leonardus. Who are we thinking, Stoney? Post-game interview? Maybe we could... Well, we might have time for 2 today.
I'm going to have a crack at Tommy Campbell and Brendan White.
I reckon we've got time for 2.
You reckon? Let me have a go. Let me have a go. There we go.
We'll be on air till 4:45 on SEN2 and VFL.com.au.
Might get a song too if I can. See what can go in there.
See how we go. Yeah, you should be. You've got your little lanyard, haven't you?
I have.
You'll be right then. So, good day for the Kangaroos. A good weekend for the Kangaroos. Bit of hope now around the place once more. Zeg Malesi-Smith sends the handball out wide. Just taken high there was Harris. He now grew up. Marks in front of Cunningham. In the middle of the ground. Hand pass off. It went back to Harris. A couple of yellow and black jumpers out wide. Mark taken. Manor gets his shot away and kicks it for the Tigers. Sean Manor, who kicked the first goal of the game. Might have just kicked the last one as well. 10-14-74 to 16-7, 103.
.24 scoring shots to 23 in favour of the Tigers. But the Kangaroos have been far more efficient going inside 50, you'd suggest, despite those figures. They've just taken better shots from better positions. As our watchers, our viewers on VFL.com.au see the replay of that nice finish from Sean Manor. 26 minutes gone, final term. 29-point lead for the Kangaroos. They've thoroughly deserved this victory. They've been outstanding today as they win another centre clearance and the mark taken by Whitecross. Left half forward, signals that he wants to go long, and that's exactly what he does. Taylor there, just bodied out of it, and out of bounds it goes. Great day for the North Melbourne Footy Club. Great couple of days, in fact, for the Kangaroos. Big upset win over Richmond in the AFL last night, and a second big upset win, it appears, over the Tigers today as Sherry takes it out of the ruck. Handball to Garner, and there's another one.
It truly is party time.
Garner snaps home his third. He's had an outstanding second half, really lifted when the pressure was on in that third term and kept it going into the last. And the lead back out to 35 points.
Plenty of changes. 4 new Kangaroos out on the park.
All
Mackay,
high fives.
Rover, Scott, and Hall. All back out on the park. Something going on Macaulay Road there, Stoney. Hope everyone's okay.
Yeah.
So, Kangaroos get their second win of the year here. Handy for their percentage as well. It was only 62.43 coming into today. We will get a look at the live ladder at the end of this one. The other 2 games around the grounds are complete. Wins to Box Hill and Werribee earlier today as Menadue on the outskirts of 50. Chips over the top, tried to set up Collier Dawkins. Haven't called his name much today. Ground level ball. Robinson happy to see it out of play. Boundary throwing. 4 games coming up tomorrow in the VFL. You can watch Essendon take on the Northern Blues on Channel 7 from 11:30. That's at Windy Hill. And then Coburg taking on Sandringham at Corona Park. 2 2:00 games. Port Melbourne v Collingwood and Footscray v Geelong. As we see a shot on goal here from, I think that's Weller. It is, and he kicks it. 11-14, 80. Playing 17-7, 109. That's a margin of 29 points in favour of the Kangaroos in junk time. Second goal of the day for Maverick Weller.
And he's a good player too, Matt Well. It's been a good pick-up for Richmond, the football club, I'd say. He's good leadership and shows great leadership at this level, no doubt about that.
2 goals for Mav Weller this afternoon. He'll be looking to get back in that AFL side sooner rather than later. He's had a pretty good game today. 29.5 minutes gone in this one. 18 disposals for Mav Weller. Neither ruckman bothered to go after it. Eventually Townsend did find it and scooped it forward, but plenty of numbers around it. Morrison, one of those for the Kangaroos, shot it out to Cunningham and instead of taking possession, tapped it out to Robinson, but that's where the chain comes undone. Egmalesi Smith intercepts for Richmond on the outer side. Pops it in board for Rioli, and he takes the mark at full stretch.
It's getting dark, Michael. Not quite as dark as last week.
Lights on, boys. I've just asked them to turn the lights on.
Not quite as dark as last week.
Very dark at the end last week, Stoney.
Yeah. Certainly was. As long high ball inside forward 50 for the Tigers. Chol was there as the tall timber. He was knocked to ground, but nothing untoward there. And umpire calls for a ball up with Silvestro at the bottom of the pack.
I think Malesi coming off looks a little bit proppy there, Stoney.
Sore, very sore.
17-7, 109, plays 11-14, 80 at Arden Street Oval. Hope you enjoyed the coverage in round 9 on Hard Yakka Totally Workwear VFL Live. Of course, we'll be watching the Kangaroos once again next week when they travel to Downer Oval to take on the Seagulls. They'll be looking to respond after a disappointing loss today against Box Hill. That certainly shapes up as an intriguing contest. As we've got another stoppage, left forward pocket for the Tigers. Coleman, Jones and Campbell go at it. Townsend at ground level, hasn't stopped trying all day. Handball by Turner, but he took it over the boundary line first.
Longer quarter than I anticipated, Stoney. Maybe only time for that one interview after all. And to be honest, you might have to make it quick. So we're running out of airtime here today. Boundary throw in. Almost 32 minutes now gone in this final term. Kangaroos to get their second win as Manor. Hand pass out. Menadue did well to work his way through to traffic. Then he ran out of real estate. Boundary throw in.
So you've got 6 minutes left, yeah?
That is correct. Brendan Whitecross and Tyrone Leonardis looking to get a late minute or two, but don't think that's going to happen. They're on the bench at the moment as the Tigers go inside 50. Mackay one hands at it. No mark was taken. It bounced into the hands of Townsend. The snap from the standing start. Silvestro couldn't mark at the top of the square. Chol had it go through his legs. A little soccer. That last kick won't count, and the game is over. North Melbourne wins 17-7, 108. Richmond 11-14, 80. Our man Mark Stone is looking to grab an interview. I think he's going to go for Brendan Whitecross. Maybe. We'll see. 29-point win in the end. Here's Mark Stone.
You always love those wins, Brendan. A great result today. The boys have had a tough season, but to beat a side like Richmond's a great effort.
Yeah, we had to grind away there because we know Richmond are in really good form. They're a really good side that play with a really good system, so we knew we had to be at our best today. But yeah, it's been a tough season so far, but we have been building. We've been playing some really good footy. We just haven't been consistent through 4 quarters. So today, 4 quarters of footy, and it's amazing what happens.
Are you enjoying the role at North Melbourne? Obviously, you're one of the development coaches on field and helping the young fellas. Are you enjoying that?
Yeah, it's a really good role, and it's really rewarding because you spend all the time during the week with the guys watching vision and preparing them to play, and then being able to be out on the ground and give them feedback directly rather than waiting until quarter time and half time is super. So really enjoying the role. Pressure's off me now. I don't have to worry about getting an AFL game, but now it's about how do we get these guys up and how do we best prepare them to play some really good footy at AFL level.
Let's hope you got a big game next week, Williamstown down there, and another challenge. But these boys, a lot of confidence. You'll go in with a lot of confidence in that game.
Yeah, we've taken really good confidence out of the last 4 weeks because we've been playing some really good footy, but as I said, the 4 quarters just haven't been there. So every game for us here on in is going to be a big game, particularly against Williamstown and Frankston, who are in good form as well. They just haven't been getting the wins just like us, so we know we've got our work cut out for us.
Thanks, champ.
No worries.
Thank you, Brendan Whitecross, and thank you, Mark Stone. We'll see you next week at Downer Oval.
You will. I'll be there with bells on.
Can't wait. Seagulls and Kangaroos. The live ladder. Richmond stay on top at 7-1 percentage of 132.2. North Melbourne jump 1 spot on the ladder now at 2-6 and a percentage of 69.6. Michael Peppicelli will just very quickly go through some of the stats leaders for today before we wrap this one up.
Thanks, Adam. So Paul Ahern, the leading disposal winner on the ground. He had 27. 6 tackles to go along with it as well, so doing it both offensively and defensively. And other major ball winners for North Melbourne, Tom Campbell and Kyron Hayden had 21 each, and Sam Durden down back had 19 disposals and 6 marks. From a Richmond perspective, Paddy Naish, 25 disposals to go along with a couple of goals as well. He had a good game. And other disposal winners, Jack Graham, 23, 8 tackles as well, and Egg Malesi-Smith and Townsend with 22 apiece.
So a great win for the North Melbourne Football Club here today, 17-7, 109. Richmond 11-14, 80. That is Richmond's first loss of the season here in the Hard Jacket. Totally Workwear VFL Live. We thank Mark Stone for his contribution on boundary today. We'll see him next week at Downer Oval. Michael Peppicelli, thank you for a wonderful call of today's game, and we're looking forward to seeing this North Melbourne side, see if they can back it up against Williamstown next week.
Thank you, Adam. I'll see you at Downer Oval.
Thank you, listeners. North Melbourne by 29.2 at Arden Street today.